Mythos Busters, investigating the mystery, monsters, and madness of Arkham Horror, the card game.
Hello and welcome to Mythos Busters, your bi-weekly-ish podcast about Arkham Horror, the card game, which is a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. Although tonight, I have to confide in you, dear listener, we're not going to be talking that much about Arkham. Tonight is a Mythos bonus. I think this, as Nick pointed out, this is the first time we'll actually have acknowledged that in the episode. We're just going to be talking about GenCon in general. So tonight we've got the crew that we kind of hung out with most at GenCon. We've got, well, from the faces you know. God damn it.
Oh my god.
We've got Nick. Hi, Nick.
Crinkling, Jesus.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm kind of wishing I had some chips right now.
No, I think one's good. Also, you might know Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hi.
Are you strapped in for tonight?
I think so. I got some podcast fluid going, so I think I'll be okay.
Oh, gee.
What exactly comprises podcast fluid?
Don't ask.
You'd be surprised. Prepare for the worst.
Introducing the next two gentlemen that'll be joining with us tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and steal their thunder now because I know if I don't say it, they'll go ahead and say it. I'll probably say the people who are two most responsible, at least for my involvement in podcasting nowadays. We have Brandon, formerly of Cardboard of the Rings.
Yeah, what's up? Can Brian and I call you we're like the pod fathers? Since we
Oh my god.
created
I
you,
approve.
Sean?
I'll allow it.
Yes. Hi, Sean.
Hi. And then, of course, we have my good friend Brian. Hi, Brian, also of COTR fame.
Hello.
Wait, he's your good friend, and I'm just the ex-host of Cardboard
You're
of the Rings?
You're the Podfather.
Okay, I'll accept Podfather.
I was the other Podfather.
You're Podfather Part 2.
Oh, I don't like that.
Oh, that's the better one, though.
That
I
was
mean,
the
it could
better
be
one, though.
three.
You're right.
So.
Hey, Brian, we have to be good. Not everyone listened to Cardboard of the Rings, so they might be like, these guys are the worst.
Good call, baby.
Yeah.
And, of course, the last guest that'll be joining us tonight. You might know him from, if you've ever joined us for a live podcast recording, Mr. Trench in the Discord. Casey. Hi, Casey.
Hi, everyone.
How are
This is what I sound like.
It is. It is indeed what you sound like, if anyone was wondering. So tonight, like I said, this is really not going to be an Arkham-centric podcast, so if you have no interest in hearing about just kind of our general antics at Gen Con, now's a great time to just give the podcast a pass and join us for the next episode, where we'll be talking about Slumber and all of the Arkham-related stuff that had to do with Gen Con.
But you
Bye,
should
everybody.
still listen to this
Played
one.
that. What? That was at Gen Con, though.
Well, okay, to be fair, we might drift into discussing Slumber, but we will also discuss it on the next episode. Okay,
Drift
so
into slumber. That was excellent. That was really well done.
So guys, as kind of the crew I ran with pretty much entirely this year, I want to start out by saying this Gen Con was a good one, but it was a bit of a weird one for me. Did anyone else kind of feel a little bit more malaise this year than any other years?
Yes, I felt particularly abandoned when you went to lunch without me.
Wow, we're just
They did
throwing
that
it out
to
there
you
right
too.
Wow,
away.
we're getting into the
I'm sorry.
drama.
Do we not want to talk about our real feelings?
Right away.
And there goes a listener.
Yes,
Sean,
Brian.
your defense?
Guilty.
Sean, what do you mean by malaise, man?
Yeah, so I think it was probably Friday that really did it to me. It might have been the first day, Thursday, but I remember walking out of the gaming hall. It happened both days, but I remember there was one specific instance where Brian just looked at me and goes, "Dude, you don't look well." And I couldn't string together like coherent sentences.
That was kind of rude of me.
Well, you know, it happens. But anyway,
I thought you looked great, Sean.
He did kind of look like crap.
thank you both.
Well, which was
I
it?
appreciate that. So,
I was indifferent.
okay, so let me direct this conversation maybe a little bit more where I can get some agreeance. We started our Gen Con together at the Beer Garden. This year's Gen Con beer was I still can't remember the actual beer name because it was
Everlasting
so generic.
Gamer.
Everlasting Gamer, which was
the generic name.
That's the first year that they didn't let people vote on it. They just arbitrarily decided it's going to be Everlasting Gamer, like it was the strongest choice ever, and it's such a weak choice. I don't even get it.
Year 2, so
What's
it's not
that?
Everlasting.
No,
It's like
is it like? Is there like a nerd thing where it's like Everlasting Gamer is supposed to be like nerd funny, and that I don't get, or what's the deal with that name?
I think it was a bad name.
Yeah. It could be many things.
What would the word everlasting even refer to? All I can think of is gobstoppers.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
That's obviously the theme they were going for.
Ew.
Very sloppy Google food turns up nothing as far as like Everlasting Gamer being a reference to something else. So I'm just gonna go with it was kind of a lame name. The beer was okay though, right? You guys dig the beer?
It was exactly okay.
Yeah.
You know, nothing to write home about. It was like you drink it. It's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? That's fine. That's fine.
So then, of course, we moved to the Yard House, which
Well, hold on, Sean.
Whoa,
Wait,
we're forgetting
something.
super big part where most of us were rocking out hard, but you were. I don't know where you were.
2 of us.
oh, that's right. Okay,
There was 3 of us.
go on.
Okay.
Eventually, and Nick only went to pick you guys up so that we could leave.
And then I
he
got
got
sucked
totally
in by the
consumed.
grunge.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he sacrificed his body for the head.
Oh my God,
so-
Nick! What a way to like
Ian.
welcome yourself to Gen Con. It was.
Where's that video you took, man?
I couldn't get the video fast enough because
Oh.
Okay, calling
Nick's
to order
headbanging
here.
was
Ian, will
so
you please elaborate for people who were not actually at Gen Con what the hell you guys are talking about?
Sure. So there was a band called Local H that was playing there that I used to listen to way back in the day in the 90s. And so I was excited that they actually had a real band for the first time at this tapping party, because usually it's just no hating on them, but I think it's just whatever random bands want to play.
Normally it's the everlasting band.
oh, it's usually
Exactly.
trash. It's like a Klingon Oompa band or something.
But this time there's a Local H, and they were, and I caught the drummer's drumstick that he threw into the
Yeah.
crowd. It was
That
like
was
me and one
amazing.
other guy reaching for it, and luckily the other guy relented, so it didn't turn into a fight. And
Ian's
That was
cold hard
awkward.
stare
You guys
won the
kinda
day.
like,
It was awkward when you both had your hands on it.
yeah, but his
Yeah.
grip wasn't as strong, so
You said you used to listen to them. You don't listen to them anymore?
No, I do, but I just that's some from way back in the day.
Oh,
They're
yes,
not like
yes.
a newfangled band.
Now, I enjoyed the band from a distance, but I think the most lasting effect
Oh,
it
so
had
good.
on the weekend was Nick's neck.
I felt like Batman the rest of the because I couldn't turn my head the rest of the weekend. I had to turn my whole torso.
Nick, your hair is probably 1.5 2 inches long at its
Around
longest,
there.
And curly.
and you are still one of the most enthusiastic headbangers I know.
was
I'm glad
insane.
I retained that title.
It was really hard. And the people like were looking and were excited
the goal.
about Nick's headbanging. It was incredible.
One
You know
dude,
what I
when I
think
came up and
happened?
did that, he was just like, "Yeah, we need more of that." And he like shakes my hand, and then he just goes back to just standing there. I'm like, "Wow, you're really into me doing it."
We wanted more from you, but your
Yeah.
bleeding nose indicated that you probably shouldn't do it anymore. Do you think you got whiplash? That's what I think happened now.
If I did, then I get whiplash every time I headbang because it didn't feel any different than before. It just lasted longer.
I think
Oh,
at a
that's
certain
just
point we
aging.
need to reevaluate our form here, Nick. We're
Well,
not 18
when my
anymore.
hair is this short, I shouldn't be headbanging like that. I should wait till it's longer.
I'm actually going to say that you should because it
Okay.
was frigging amazing.
You
It was
convinced
really
me.
incredible.
That was hard. All right, so then after Local H, we went to the Yard House, which of course we talked about last year, and the vampire tacos made their return. Although I will say, I tried the vampire quesadilla. I thought it was better.
Fully agree.
I never circled back around to try it, so now I can't dispute it.
There was,
All I know is the brownies were still amazing.
Oh my god.
So good.
You and your dessert for dinner.
What's wrong with that? I'm an adult.
Sean, my recollection is hazy. Did we split on
No.
vampire tacos and vampire quesadillas?
we did.
Yeah,
we
yep.
split a quesadilla and
Okay.
swapped for a taco. Yep, it was the
Okay.
best idea ever because I got what I wanted, and then I discovered my new favorite. So
Well, and then Nick got the brownie, and I couldn't not get the brownie afterwards. It looked so good, and I do not regret it at all.
Well, and like
Do you
I said,
remember what the waitress said when you got yours? She was like, normally, it takes like multiple people to eat one or something, right?
I was ready to order more food, and she was like, "Wow, you ate that all on your own?" And I was like,
Yeah,
"Fine,
yeah,
I guess
that
I'm
was-
done eating now."
Yeah, we had a brownie chain because Nick made me get one, and I'm the one that
It
got
was
Brandon
viral.
to get one then.
Oh God. Well, thank you then, both of you.
Oh, they were so good.
This was the first year I actually joined in on actually getting a half yard of beer.
Yes.
And it shows.
I
Yeah, you're a total beer noob.
my problem was I took a chance on a half yard of beer. I should have gotten a half yard of beer of something I knew that I liked. It
Bud
just
Light.
the house white was okay. It was like a white Belgian ale that was okay, but yeah, it went down slow. So anyway, then I think the highlight of the evening for me was I actually had to go stand in the will call line to pick up my tickets because I had my press badge and they don't ship them, so blah blah blah. And I had way more company than I expected to have. It was pretty much everyone that's here, right?
Uh-huh.
think so.
They don't
Plus
ship to
Daniel.
Canada.
Oh yeah, and Daniel. Yep, Daniel was there. Big foam loaf if you're around
Big
the
foam
Discord.
loaf.
So we started in on the will call line, and it was stretching way back into the hall. Like I was ready to just say nope, doing it in the morning.
Oh, you guys.
And I can't remember who ultimately talked us into it, but it was a very
Me.
Was it you? All right. Well, props because we got through it way faster, and the time passed gloriously fast, due mostly to catchphrase.
Oh God, what a great game! I'm so glad.
Mhm.
I feel like we probably made enemies of everyone in front of us and behind us, but it definitely made
loved
the
it.
line go fast.
We should have brought them into play. That
People
game
were
is so
trying to
good, though.
join in. I saw their next trying
Yeah.
to, so I think people liked it.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if
obviously
Nick
having
would
so
have
much
stopped
fun.
elbowing them out, that probably would have been helpful to.
Back off!
Catchphrase is the ultimate like game night ender too. When everyone's tired and you still have a little bit more time, that game is just quality. If your listeners take away one gaming thing from this episode, it's to get catchphrase. So good.
Hot GenCon 2018 take.
The game of the car.
Yes. 1980s
I was
Milton
about to
Bradley.
say, what the hell is the copyright on that game? It's got to be like late 70s.
It's actually public domain now. Anyone can publish it.
Okay,
Fun game though.
So we rounded out the night doing that, and then we all went back to our respective hotels. Thursday morning was, of course, the rush.
Yes.
Did anyone actually go in after anything? I didn't keep track of everyone during the actual Thursday morning rush. Anyone get anything cool?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No, I
Not
have
it.
my Arkham.
I shouldn't have played that rush.
Yeah, kind of seems like the theme of Gen Con. So I suppose that what did everyone play on Thursday? Because that's like the best day to go out and actually demo stuff because the weekend crowd's not there yet. Anyone play anything worth noting?
We played Keyforge, I think. I think 4 of us played that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because
Yeah.
the Fantasy Flight in-flight report was moved to Wednesday friggin' night, which
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
fine, I guess, because then they can announce stuff and have it immediately the next day. But
Right.
anyway, Keyforge, for those who haven't heard, is a new card game coming out from Fantasy Flight. It's not a living card game. They're actually going with a whole new distribution model, which seems interesting. The whole idea is that each deck has 3 factions, and each deck is uniquely generated by an algorithm to be unique. There's some odd million different permutations of the
Oh
card
no,
pool.
it
it's
was
in the
like
billions.
14 Google or something.
God. So the premise is each deck that you buy is 100% unique in its composition. Obviously, they'll share cards among factions in the pool and whatnot, but no other deck will have the exact combination of cards you have. And the game, and I can't remember who described it to me this way, but it was someone said it's kind of like Magic without all the ancillary
Fun.
garbage. I dug it. I think it's going to live and die on its distribution model, which I think
Agreed.
is a really I love to see companies trying something new. Anything to break that kind of Magic CCG mold. Great, I'm behind it. If people aren't digging that though, this is going to flop hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I got a chance to play it with our very own Matt Newman. He brought out some decks so I could try it. That was Thursday or Friday. I can't remember. It all blurs together. But I had like zero interest in the game when it was announced. But it's actually the mechanics are a lot of fun. I actually find myself craving like wanting to play it again. Because I thought it was just going to be another like you throw your dudes on the board and they battle. Which you do throw your dudes on the board, but the fact that the win condition isn't related to that, it's gathering this amber so you can forge 3 keys. So it's a little bit more to it than just kill the other people. So as far as the distribution model, though, I'm still skeptical as far as like pushing it as an organized play thing. I think it's actually more of a casual like dinner table game than a viable organized play tournament thing.
Yeah, it's like a stocking stuffer or something. Here's a couple of decks, and that's all you want to get. But if there's like an actual meta around it, or like everyone is just chasing that one algorithm, it was spat out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems the fact that they're $10 a deck is really helpful. Like that kind of takes some of the edge off of it, but at the same time. And this is a big thing that I harped on when I first learned about it. But it's like, I really like making a deck my own. I really like, playing around with the cards and discovering something new that is kind of mine. And the only way I can do that is just with this game is just look at the faction composition and hope I get something I like.
Is the faction composition revealed to you when you buy it? Or is that a surprise?
Wait, it is?
I would imagine it is.
No,
I mean, otherwise,
I don't think so, man. I think it's
really?
fully like
crapshoot. Boxes look like the one that we're looking at.
Then I don't like that at all. Then like my desire to play this game went from 8 on 10 to like 2 on 10.
See, I'm in the boat where I'm going to buy the starter and maybe a couple decks, and I'll probably stick with that unless the decks are like wildly imbalanced. But I still really dig the game. But
what's your solution then? If you wind up with the starter, which is fixed, as well as 2 randoms, and then you just wind up with a bunch of crap. Are you going to keep
that can happen
with decks, or are you just going to give up on it?
That remains to be seen, I suppose.
That's the problem, is because the game is fun. Like I really enjoy the mechanics of it. I just wish that there was a way that appealed to me more to actually get into it.
Well, did you hear when we were talking to one of the guys that was demoing it, and somebody had said, like, oh, there's imbalance. So what if somebody gets, like, the God tier deck and it just continuously wrecks things? They then retire them if they win 5 organized events.
Mm-hmm.
So you just, that deck, which in each deck is identifiable by a QR code, they just ban that one. And it's, I guess they called it retiring. So then it's done.
And
I feel billions of decks. So, I mean, people aren't going to be, well, I guess Toys R Us is at business, but people aren't going to be at Toy or Game Store going through all the QR codes like, oh, here's the one that I want, because you can't figure it out.
The weird thing about it is because most competitive card gamers that I know are like what Nick mentioned, that they love building decks and they get pride out of it. That, I built this deck and it won regional or whatever. And you're never going to be able to do that with this game because every deck that wins, people are going to say the same thing. Well, you just got the lucky deck, So, and people are going to hate that. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
How do you net deck it's in better, this game? Anyways, that's what I always do.
You can't, because there's other gamers I know who like card games, but they don't want to build a deck. They just want a deck handed to them and play it, and that seems like this is the game for them. But that's not how they're marketing it so far.
Right.
I'm one of those people, but you just need one nerd friend like Sean who will just build a deck for you, and you're good to go. You don't need to pay $10 for a Keyforge deck. In our demo, the wild imbalance was demonstrated too. I played with Chris from Lord of the Rings, and damn, like he smoked me the first game, and everyone's like, it's because it's Chris and you're you. And I was like, no, I don't think that's what it is, because my deck was just sitting there chilling, and his was producing amber automatically. So we switched decks, and lo and behold, I whooped him like in a similar fashion that he beat me. So that's a thing.
Sean and I noticed that too in our game, in that like we had just had a stalemate going forever, because like I would start to build up a board state, and then Sean had one specific card that could just lock down multiples of my cards, and it was just like, this isn't even fun. Like here I am trying to get things to stay on table, and Sean's just like, I want to bounce this one card back and forth and lock down your whole strategy.
The problem is I was playing it like Magic. Like I was trying to play really
deck.
I was trying to play really control-y. until we just slugged it out for like 6 solid turns with neither of us making any progress, and I start going like, this is obviously not how I'm supposed to be playing this game.
The game I had with Matt was actually super close, so either the decks were balanced or he happened to give me a good deck so that I would have a chance. I'm not sure which, but I think
know, though, would he?
The decks when they're close it's like super tense. It came down to the last play and it was a lot of fun, but yeah, it's just a matter if you can actually find that pair that's gonna have that balance going for it.
And real quick, Teddy in our chat just said, I wonder if there'll be a community-driven constructed format for Keyforge. And I hear Brandon, yep, he just said it. The card backs for this are all unique to the deck, so you would have to use sleeves if that were the case. Like if you were going to mix and match at all on a casual level, you have to use opaque sleeves because card backs are unique to the deck, which is surprising.
Which was actually kind of cool because that was one thing that I was remarking on when Matt showed us his decks is like he had basically each deck's title is generated by an algorithm as well, and apparently that's based on like if there are a lot of creature traded things in this deck, like that'll push you toward these names and blah 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 blah. So anyway, he had like Grognag the Golden Gecko Warrior or something like that, and it's interesting. I like that it's all unique. But yeah, I think I'm with you, Nick, that I want to say like a full 75% of the fun I enjoy with the card game is kind of theory crafting and figuring out the interactions and kind of tinkering with the decks to get them to work the way you want to. And
yeah,
while the game itself is fun and it's enough, my demo was enough to make me want to buy the core set. It remains to be seen how much farther I'll go than that.
Yeah.
Brian, did you get a chance to try it?
No.
I think you might dig it.
The format, while I can definitely see why I would ultimately be driven a little bit bonkers by it, is pretty much exactly what I want from a card game. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's one I definitely need to check out. I mean, I wouldn't have bothered, but the fact that I don't think I've heard a single person who played it give no one has had anything negative to say about it. So
other than all that negative stuff we just said.
Well, but it's all hypothetical. I mean, I guess we had one experience, right, with an imbalanced deck. Was it one or two people had that
tables
experience?
Each had, 2 decks, one of which was grossly overpowered in comparison to the other.
I wouldn't say ours was grossly. It was just that one card really seemed to swing the game.
Mine was.
They really
I literally had one
decks.
card that was locking down Nick's turn.
Yeah.
And we also were playing our game wrong, and there was not enough of the. Was it the amber, the main currency?
Yeah,
using to build. Yeah, okay. There wasn't enough. We were neglecting to add amber to our pools when we would play the cards that have amber.
Yeah.
And it turns out that would have added and that's why we stalled for 6 turns because I was just playing control. Neither of us were adding anything new to the board. It was our game was an aberration, really.
We also didn't know that you could, when you choose a faction, you can discard as many cards as you want of that faction.
And reset.
Yeah, that's a key point too.
That's important.
It'll be interesting to see how the starter decks work. If those are fixed in the boxes, like in comparison to...
I dropped my keys, don't mind me.
Give me your keys, Ian.
Ian's making a break for it.
Is that a Keyforge joke, or I'm not even sure?
That's how good I am. I had that all planned out.
Apropos.
I would imagine that the starters are fixed. Like, I would imagine that the two starters...
We know they are.
Okay. I'm sorry.
What comes in the starter? Do we know?
2 fixed decks and 2 random decks, I think. And then all the tokens and stuff.
That's my
because you need the random ones, because that's the neat part of it, right? It's like your own genetic code. You have your.
That's the selling point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they say how much a deck will sell for?
$10.
That's pretty good,
right?
Yeah,
like that. At least it's an easy to get into. Like even if you get a couple of bad decks, you're only out $10-$20.
So, I mean, did they discuss? Is there any level for expansion to the game beyond just making new decks?
Nope.
So new mechanics that would require a new core set at some point. But
think about the logistics of that, though. If they have to make all these decks individually by an algorithm, they basically had to make the entirety of the first set. They probably had to print that a long time ago, right? Because so
I think it's print on demand, isn't it? in or less, kind of like a drop ship in big bulk pieces. Like they haven't printed all 14 Google decks.
Well, I would imagine that's not the case.
Yeah,
but
there's just
How many cards are in the pool? Do we know?
One Google.
Let me see if I can find out. I don't know offhand.
But anyway,
I'd rather just discuss it.
I think what they do is they just do what Magic does, where they have blocks, and if they're truly going to run competitive or OP on this, then you just move from one block to the other when it's out.
Yeah, because eventually
Then what is
people
the
will get
advantage
tired
of
of
this
the
system in
cards.
comparison to an actual CCG?
Valid question.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the market will answer that one way or the
This
other.
is
Right.
uncharted
Determined.
territory,
Yeah.
For sure.
which is exciting, right?
Exactly.
Kudos to them for trying something different and trying something new.
Yeah, I will definitely give them that. That's because when I first was hearing about this, my definite thought was this is going to tank. There's just no way this is sustainable. But the more I've heard about it, the fact that everybody's raving about it, it seems like they might have a chance. And if anything, just innovation. I'll always reward innovation when I can. So,
Agreed.
Yep.
So I'm looking at the Keyforge page on Fantasy Flight real quick. They don't give a card amount like in the set, but I did notice that this is the first in a new Fantasy Flight game type called Unique Games. So I wonder if they're going to explore, if this is successful, if they're going to explore
literally
like
the worst genre name ever.
right, exactly, yeah, so stupid.
Unique
I mean,
games.
I would bet money they're gonna do more, and they probably already have another one in development or something.
Right, yeah,
More than likely.
but
Brian, you know what I'm looking forward to when I lose? Being like, well, it's because my deck sucks. And
Oh, I know,
it's brilliant. You can blame the company.
yes,
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
It's gonna
zero
be
accountability on the
I
player.
really
base.
look forward to playing this game with some really hardcore player, just going like, "Oh well, nice job, you pulled a really good deck. That's cool."
How many decks did you have to buy to win that one?
Oh, this really adds a new dimension to the bad beat, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Bad beat stories now just boil down to I had a bad deck. Like I really, really like it. It makes the bad beat stories quicker, at least.
Like I actually don't think I was sold on trying out the game until I believe it was Ian right now who just said it's gonna really drive those types of gamers nuts. Just be like, oh yeah, well, you just got a good deck. It wasn't your skills. It was just knowing that I can do that to someone. I will buy into this game.
Oh man,
it's my piloting skills, not the deck.
I mean, I do think there was enough of a game there that the decks aren't going to run themselves. Obviously, the algorithm is just gonna just produce more efficient mixes. But
if you and I decide to have a race, and I give you,
Go on.
you know, like a go-kart that barely runs, and I jump in a Ferrari. You can
I would
play-
hope that these decks are closer in power level than a go-kart that barely runs and a Ferrari.
What do you know about Ferraris?
That's exactly what it gets down to. Is this game is going to live and die on that algorithm and whether how big that gulf is. If it is reasonable, then I could see it. I could see it being pretty okay.
During the finals of every Keyforge tournament, it should be best of like 5, and you have to exchange decks in between each round to see who's truly the
There's
best
something
pilot.
to that.
That's not a bad idea, yeah.
It's not the
That
worst
is
idea
skill.
I've ever had.
That is a test of skill. Oh, and I've had so many ideas that are bad, Sean. We've podcasted together. In the past. So I think that would be fun. I think that would be exciting. Because then you would remove the sort of, you lucked on your deck thing, because now you can point to skill.
Right.
All right.
I'm just looking forward to when there's a draft for drafting whole decks instead of individual cards.
You just open it and keep or pass, and that's it.
I'll pass this deck.
Buy your palette and bring it to the
I
draft.
I suppose with
Shuffle your
this,
1,000 cards together.
with this release format, draft and sealed deck are the same format, right?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
That's the joke. Yes.
You know, it does make sealed deck tournaments a lot cheaper. It's just $10 and go.
Yep.
A lot better than the Destiny draft we tried to do.
Well, hold on
You
now.
didn't try anything.
You guys all bailed on that. We'll talk about that
That
later.
went great.
I was
Okay.
super
It was
a
fun.
lot of
Thank you,
fun.
Casey.
All right.
Yeah.
So before this becomes a Keyforge podcast, any other games anyone tried? Brian, I know it was Thursday your Evolution Day. I know you're
Yes.
a big proponent of Evolution and
Yeah, I got to go technically playtest Oceans.
Ooh.
Which is the new game that's contributing to the Evolution gaming system. which I really despise that name, but it is accurate.
Is it a unique game?
It
What
it's
is
not that bad.
That's the worst name.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I got to chat with the CEO of the company and the lead developer of the game for a while, and they were really interested in actual feedback. Like, it wasn't just lip service, so I was really happy to see that, and it was fun. I don't feel the need to talk about it too much right now because they could theoretically change everything up, but it was really solid. It's really different from the original game. My biggest concern is that the new one would ultimately kind of replace the old one, in that why would we ever need to play old Evolution ever again if they've done all this work to make it better and revamp all the mechanics?
So this doesn't integrate with Evolution the way that Climate did.
It won't. It does not integrate at all.
It's completely standalone.
No, not at all. It's a complete standalone game. Yep. They are related in name and mild theme only.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it's completely standalone and completely separate game. This one is much friendlier. It's not nearly as competitive and cutthroat.
Lame.
Well, but that's the good part, is that Evolution will still exist for that reason. I think Oceans can definitely be a cutthroat game, but it will never encourage the amount of dickery that standard Evolution does. So I think the two games are going to have very distinct audiences, in my opinion. There will certainly be a lot of people like me who will play and own and play both, but I'm sure I'm going to have a preference develop pretty quickly. I imagine it will still be for the original Evolution. As of right now, that feels like a much richer game to me, but they've also been developing it for 3-4 years now, and Oceans is brand new. So plenty of time for them to work on it and get it up to the same level that regular Evolution is at before I start being too harsh on its simplicity.
Oceans is not very deep. Is that what you're telling us?
Oh boy.
I don't get it.
So
I'm so glad we're done. It's so much better.
Are you getting a little salty about my Oceans comment?
Oh my god.
So we played
Brian,
Merlin.
Can you please stop trying to make waves in this conversation?
Yes, we played Merlin.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so our buddy Dave G is one of the best demoers that works Gen Con, so we had to made sure
Wait, Sean.
He's second only to Zale.
Okay, true.
Thank you, Nick, for that save.
Not a problem.
He's my favorite. I can't say I've taken enough demos to say that he's the best across all of Gen Con. But anyway, we wanted to make sure we went and got a demo at the Queen Games. Queen Games.
Singular.
Singular Queen.
Queen's Game. Wait.
A Queen.
Oh, God damn it.
At Queen Games.
We played Merlin. And it was actually pretty fun. It was,
yes.
I don't know, for some reason, when I look at a game board and I see the wood meeple,
oh my god,
there's usually something about that just kind of makes me go, oh, this is gonna be.
It gives
boring.
you a wood meeple.
Opposite
Excitement.
Oh, it's a Stefan Feld.
Good bone.
But
for me, it was looking at the board and just how busy that board is with the iconography and everything. But I
feel like they definitely could have cleaned up some of the art to make it less busy.
I got freaked out when there was like that sub map. Like there was another map with hexes. I was like, oh god.
I didn't know how he was going to explain it, but he's a pro, and he
did a really good
actually got us to learn it, because there's like 12, 15 different actions you can take on that little inner circular board.
It's not.
Look at it.
I suppose it's not too dissimilar from other Eurolite games. Like probably the most popular one right now is like Lords of Waterdeep, where you're taking specific actions to get victory points and kind of pre-planning and playing off each other. And then Merlin, which is a piece that any player can control. You can like move him around to trigger any event, and he's fun. I lost ridiculoely. I got dealt.
Oh, you were so terrible.
I got dealt the little quests or missions you can do. Like I couldn't satisfy an objective to save my life.
Bad beat story.
But the game was fun. I did enjoy the game.
You just had a bad Merlin board.
I think that's the most complex game I've ever played in terms of like all the stuff that's going on in like It's insane how many different routes to victory there are. You could build houses or be the sword dude. Like, there's so much.
Starfleet Battles is the most complicated game I've ever played. And no one has ever played it, so I was expecting crickets. Okay.
Star Wars CCG, still
it's
my
too
most complicated game.
the rule book for Starfleet Battles was like 200 something pages, I think.
Jesus.
Wow.
Because you could do anything you could do in Star Trek. Like, I'm going to tractor beam the shuttle and then wing it in an asteroid.
What? Where is this game? Can we play online?
It's like from the 80s.
Yeah. What's it called?
This one kind of felt like
Starfleet Battles.
Solitaire a little bit, though. You know what I mean? Like, you're not interacting very much.
Yeah.
That's kind of how he designs his games.
Multiplayer solitaire?
Phil? Yeah, kind of.
And that's very indicative of the genre, though, too. Just that's how Euros generally are.
This game.
Don't interact with each other.
It's got a victory track, Brian, so look away.
Oh, no.
Which is weird because it's like it has dice and like meeple movement, like roll your dice, move your mice, but it's not like simple like that. It's the fact that you got to look at all of your options because you can use a die for almost any of your pawn you roll multiple dice and choose when to execute them. So like it's not just roll and move, it's roll and then plan ahead, and then how is that going to affect another player's turn, and
let's hope that fucker moves Merlin first so I can get him in the right position to do something. And
I had a couple turns where I was just banking on Merlin staying where he was when it got to me, and he never did.
No, he's always on the move.
Yeah.
And then there's all this other, like there's these traitors that you have to protect against.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Shields and yeah.
Who won that one in the end? I can't recall because I was just enjoying the experience so much.
I think Dave won. I think Dave won, if I remember right.
Oh, get the hell out of here. There was no hand-holding. I won that without training wheels. I rode to victory.
Who are you trying to convince, bro?
I know, right?
Myself.
So
I totally lucked into it. It's not like I had a coherent strategy or anything. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'll move this guy because that's.
You completed like one mission a turn, or 2 missions.
I was completing a lot of missions because I was picking easy missions. It was my laziness that ultimately resulted in victory. Sean was playing the long game. I think if we actually finished the game, Sean would have won.
I would have been better off than I had been.
You can't say conclusively that you won. You don't know how it would have shaken out.
That's true. That is true.
So, moving on from Merlin, this is one thing I wanted to mention and bring up on the podcast, though I know I've talked with you all about it at the con. Because it's a problem I have with the industry right now. So, when we were in the hall Thursday morning, Brandon, you went to go look at something.
Here we go.
Oh, quiet you.
Buckle up, everybody.
Brandon went to go look at something, and I was standing by the White Wizard booth, the company that did Star Realms and Hero Realms and other games, I'm sure, but those are the ones I've played and quite enjoyed. So I was checking out this board that was set up, and it looked interesting, and the guy was like, hey, you want to try a demo? I'm like, well, my friend's over here just looking at something. I don't know if I can sit for a whole demo, but like, this looks cool. What's it about? So he starts telling me about it. I think is it Wizard, Sorcerer, or something like that? Anyone know about that one?
Sorcerer.
Yeah, okay, Sorcerer sounds right. It's kind of a deck builder with some area control, and it had a really cool theme, and it's kind of like Smash Up, where like you pick your character, your class, your faction, you know, there's different ways you can mix them, that sort of thing. It seemed really cool. And at that point, when he was pitching it to me, and I knew it was White Wizard, and I knew I'd dug their games in the past, I was just ready to throw down on it, because I'm good for an impulse buy at GenCon. But he's like, oh no, it's on Kickstarter. And thus started the saga of Sean not buying a single damn game at GenCon. Because I think I sat or listened to or was pitched. Basically, I decided that I was going to buy 3 separate games, and every one of those games was not actually on sale at GenCon. And while
why do you think that is, Sean?
I don't know. Kickstarter's cool because it puts money in the hands of small companies that wouldn't otherwise be able to get it. But the fact that it's just kind of become pre-order with like incentives and like the whole monster that it's become now, I'm just kind of old man grumpy at it all the time.
So as a counterpoint to that, though, a lot of other industry conventions are like this. Like with one of my jobs outside of college, I got to go to the AIA convention, which is for architects. And it's not like you're selling active product there. It's about highlighting features that you're coming out with. So I worked for an engineering company, and we brought this brand new conceptual thing that we had created. It wasn't for sale at all, but we were trying to sell the idea of it. And I think that's what a lot of conventions are really going for. I understand this is a
technically more of an expo.
Yeah, I mean, convention can mean several things in different industries. Like an enthusiast convention like this, where you can go and check out new stuff, and it's not actually available. I don't know.
Well,
not like
clearly
a
that's a miss, right? That's a total miss, because none of us went okay in Kickstarter.
I don't know. No, I'm not so as aggrieved as you guys. Sorry. But,
they don't want to take risk, right? The developers don't want to take the risk, so they don't want to show up with 18 bajillion piles of product, and then the sales don't go as expected.
This does seem weird that this is on Kickstarter, or was a Kickstarter project, because this is a successcul company, Star Realms and stuff.
Which
right,
yeah.
Now if they already did a bunch of art and stuff to get this ready, I don't know.
And I guess I wouldn't go as far to say like foul play, like fine, whatever. That's the market right now. But like my second, it's probably actually my worst first world problem. My least favorite first world problem is when I want to buy something, I have the money to buy something, and the only reason I can't is because it's not actually for sale.
There must be a meme for that.
Surely.
I'm totally on your side. I'm totally on your side, Sean, in that it just doesn't feel good, because for me, like there was one game that I saw the art for, I just linked it in chat. It's called Mutated, and I was like, okay, sounds like a Thing type game, and I was like, I'm kind of bored of that whole hidden trader sci-fi stuff. I'm like, but I went up to the table and I'm like, talk to me about this game. And the guy explained it to me. And in the process of him explaining it to me, I got super excited, and I was like, this would be perfect for After Dark. Like, this game plays in 10 to 20 minutes. Characters can go on trial. Like, it sounds awesome. And then he's like, yeah, it's only on Kickstarter. And that just was like, oh no. Like I almost wanted to be like, how much do I have to pay you just for the demo copy? Because I would love to walk away with this game.
See, so then the part that I would want to respond to that is saying, how many times do you actually get to try something before you kickstart it? Like, what an amazing opportunity. Fair. You actually get to play or experience, it could be a really rough demo of a game before you decide to put money into it. That's phenomenal. Like, I definitely hear what you guys are saying, in that I also tend to think of GenCon as an opportunity for me to try out games that I would then be able to purchase at the time. But I don't think there's anything wrong with companies using it as a method to sell a product that will be coming out. Now, I know that there's some companies out there that are doing this, from a purely greedy, non-risk standpoint, where they just, we brought one copy and we just want you to go back it on Kickstarter and make sure that you give us our money right away. I know that companies are doing that, but it's not a store. It's not a game store. It's a convention where they get to show off the stuff that they're working on or trying out, and we get to see that firsthand.
I will say that's totally fair, and I totally agree with all that. I'm just speaking on like how it felt, like like in the moment, like it was such a like a deflation moment. Like suddenly I was like, oh no, like I was really excited for and there was another game I played too called Estates that was the same thing. It was really fun. That one I actually got to play. Like, they had a demo set up of it, and that he's like, oh, it's on Kickstarter, and it's like, that's great. I'll probably end up backing these games on Kickstarter, so success for them. But oh man, like how happy I would have been just to walk away with it.
And that's kind of where I'm at too, is like I said, I'm not going to call foul on it, because that's just where the industry's at. And I realize, like, even the bigger players in the board game industry are still nowhere near, film and video games, anything along those lines, as far as like the kind of capital they have access to. But I'm kind of, just from a personal perspective, I'm kind of pragmatic on a day-to-day basis, and I realize that even if I buy another game, chances are it's going to sit on the shelf most of the time, because 90% of my gaming time is dedicated toward Arkham and Lord of the Rings. So GenCon's like the one time I let my guard down in that regard, and I was ready to buy a game, and I'm like, yes, impulse, here we go. I got Grimslingers this way. I got the Scott Pilgrim game last year, which I still haven't played again, but it's pretty fun. I like it. Wow. See, I mean, then this is exactly why. So the fact that it wasn't there for me to buy when I was at my weakest even though it looks really cool, I probably will never run back to it. And you know, I'm just one man, but they probably lost me on that game because of that.
Do you guys like Kickstarter?
No.
I have in the past.
Not anymore.
I don't like how stuff seems exclusive, and then I don't know what happens, but then suddenly like everybody has it, even the people that didn't kickstart. You know, like
it's just a vehicle for them to now create all of these ridiculous stretch goals.
But I feel like the stretch goals are often
is exclusive, or is your complaint that people who didn't back it can get exclusive stuff?
It's the second one. I don't want other people to get my exclusive stuff, man. I kickstarted. I want to feel special.
No, I know that. I know that feeling. It's
yeah. And I also don't like the fact that some of the stretch goals are like 100% should have already been in the damn game.
And that's where I think this is like anything. This is like any loot box video game. Like there are some games that do it well and in a reasonable and value laden way. And
Street Fighter.
And then there's Battlefront 2, which garnered so much negative reaction.
That's exactly it. Like now we live in an age of day one DLC for video games. Like that's just where the industry is. And I think I personally appreciate what Kickstarter has done since its like inception for the indie gaming community, like especially the RP, like the RPGs that have come out of Kickstarter that would not have been a shadow of a product beforehand. Like I really appreciate that. I agree that there are many levels to Kickstarter now that I don't care for, but I think that's just a byproduct of having this vehicle for indies to use, is that you're going to get people who aren't quote unquote indie that are using it as well.
So was Mutated there to play, Nick?
No, it was just a guy at a he had the copy set up, but he never once asked if I wanted to play around, so I'm assuming they weren't ever playing it. He just had it there so you could like hold it in your hand and make it that much worse when you had to let it go.
Yeah,
I think there was a table in the back there, but I don't know if they were playing that or some other game.
I thought it was a different game. Yeah,
it could have been.
It's a break.
That prequel he was talking. Yeah, I feel like I haven't kickstarted very wisely in the past, but now I try to limit it to just the ones. There's certain games where you can only get them through Kickstarter,
right?
And so those are the ones that I. Or if it's like a smaller developer that I'm trying to throw a bone to and help support them.
Sure.
Or if the extras seem like legitimate extras and not things that probably should have been in the game to begin with.
Yes! Like, I want iron-on patches and stuff, not a third faction.
Screw the minis. Give the
Brandon, you don't like it when stretch goals are expansions to the game? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, expansions, put that in air quotes, you know what I mean? Where the game comes with one scenario, and then there's like 16 scenarios through stretch goals. It's like, okay. That's one scenario book that you just split.
Cthulhu game that had what the conclusion of their storyline as a stretch goal or something.
Really? Talking about Simon games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Simon
No
games,
worries. Come on.
With their $150 Cthulhu statue.
Yeah. So I'm only asking, like, if it was available, Mutated was available to play, like, you feel betrayed because they were there in person, but how is this different from you just being online and seeing the ad for it? Anyways.
Because honestly, if I had just seen an ad, I probably wouldn't have given it a second thought, but it was the guy explaining the flow of the game to me, and I could be wrong. Like, obviously there's no way for me to accurately guess just, you know, me seeing the ad, how I would feel. But all I can say is that him explaining it to me and talking through it and getting excited about it as well is kind of what did it for me. And I don't really, you know, I mean, you're probably right. If I had seen the ad online, I probably liked it just as much, but I don't know.
Salespeople sell themselves. That guy sold you, man.
Right?
So anyway,
I feel like the industry is...
Oh, go ahead, Ian.
I feel like the industry is tough. Just, I mean, we've all had to go through so many shipping troubles with whatever games we're interested in, and that happens on the Kickstarter end too. And I know they get the reverse problem where the game is already promised to all these Kickstarter backers, but then they have it available for sale at GenCon, and then all the Kickstarter the Kickstarter backers have to wait like 2 more months, and they can't pick it up at GenCon, and then that causes a whole other problem. So
didn't Justin have a game like that this year, where it was one that he had backed on Kickstarter, and they had it?
The guy at the booth was like very open about that. And I know that this is just something they have to kind of do. They got to try and sell the product, but that's
it's still
unbelievable.
Pretty, like that would feel even worse than
unforgivable.
Me wanting to buy a game and it not being for sale.
I mean, that's our fault as consumers. We're letting them get away with it. I mean, you want to chastise the video game industry for doing day one DLC? Well, we keep buying the games, so why would they stop?
Right. And the DLC.
Agreed. Yep, exactly. It's our fault. Until we start speaking with our money, they're going to keep doing it. So,
well, they got to stop releasing such sweet outfits and all.
Ban Kickstarter
and armor for my horse.
I needed a Killer Bride outfit for GTA 5. So, yeah. Anyway, so there's no easy answer there. Obviously, I just brought it up because it was kind of a deflating moment for me personally. Because it's like, here I am with my money. I want to give it to you. I'm not gonna want to give it to you when I get home.
Right.
Wasn't it kind of inflating though when you got home and you still had that money?
Yes, actually, I was so far under budget this year. It was ridiculous.
Opposite.
Well, speaking of, we went to Granite City on Thursday afternoon, right?
Yeah. Oh boy,
the budget breaker.
So this was the moment where Brian, we did go without you. We messaged you like as we were walking there, and by the time you were like,
what did we do that morning?
What?
We checked in.
Let's have this out, guys. Let's have it out.
And this is primarily focused on you because I'm sure you were the problem.
Me?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so at Granite City we got beers as you do. I feel like we were wronged in just a minor way by our server a little bit. I feel like a warning against what we were about to do was probably justified. But they have their normal beers because they're a brewery, so they have just their house beers that they actually make on site. And then they had a list of special beers. And I don't know if they just have those for GenCon. I'm only ever there for GenCon, so I wouldn't know. But among those was a mead that sounded really good. It was a banana honey spiced mead. Is that it?
Foster's banana.
Yeah. So it sounded really good. So Brandon and I each ordered one. There was no price on the menu. So it's like
that's like dirty.
Well, and that wasn't the menu. That was just like the little, cutout paper thing they had there
piece
for
of paper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Accurate. So the thing comes in it was a 20-ounce bottle?
Yeah. 500 milliliters.
It was big. It was definitely more than I was looking for. Like I love me some mead, but I'm like 12 ounces and I'm super okay with being done. And that particular mead, while good, was just cloyingly sweet.
It was.
It was
very syrupy.
Yes, it was alcoholic syrup essentially. But then the bill came.
Oh god.
How much were
and
they?
The guy gave us the bills. He gave us the bills like there was no problem. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, here's your bill. Like,
he knew
it was
what he
fine.
did.
He knew what he did. That's why we didn't see him again.
$19?
18 US American dollars. Unbelievable. For one beer.
Mead. It was mead.
For one
mead.
mead.
Yeah, one mead.
Which
no, it just seems weird that they didn't tell us in advance that it was going to be $18. Because would you have got it if it was 18? No. Like, God, no one would. I guess that's why they don't tell you.
It just teaches me my lesson that I should learn every time I do it, not to order anything off a menu without prices.
Right? Or you have to feel really cheap and be like, how much is this mead? Yeah.
Accurate. So then I think with at least for my Thursday, Ian and Nick and Josh and I and Casey, you were there as well, and Justin, I think, is the only other one of our group who went. We all went and played Arkham on Thursday night, which was fun. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the actual scenario on the next. Oh yeah, and Daniel. We'll talk about the actual scenario on the next episode. I'll do a short preface here. I'm 98% positive on it. The skull bugs me a little bit, but we'll get there.
When did you guys go play on Thursday?
4 o'clock.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know what I did on Thursday.
I was worried.
I've been going through text messages trying to figure out what the hell I was doing on Thursday.
That sounds like GenCon to me.
It's really kind of starting to scare me.
That's when I found my secret bathroom.
Yes.
Oh.
That's what I did on Thursday.
Which led us to probably our best restaurant experience.
Yeah, in air quotes. Oh boy.
So anything else Thursday, Friday, kind of before we're moving into kind of extracurricular?
What was Thursday night? Because Thursday night we were still counting on karaoke tomorrow, but
Thursday we always
happen
take it
early?
easy because we have CrossFit the next morning.
That's right. Thursday night we did call it an early night.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I
did eat pizza. We should mention the pizza. The D&D drizzle.
Yes.
Oh, how could
yeah.
we miss that?
Fire and ice.
Yeah. Very creative, awesome concept by a fantastic pizzeria. I gotta say it.
Are you
Really, really good.
For
I've
for
never
those-
had mac and cheese pizza before, and you guys were acting like that's standard fare.
It's
I
around
think
here.
I think it's becoming more common.
But for those unaware, Hotbox Pizza is a local pizza place to Indy, and they do a themed pizza for every GenCon. Like the first year I went, it was Dragon's Breath. It was basically like a hopped up buffalo chicken pizza, and it was amazing.
And it has been unmatched.
Agreed.
So
that was the
Agreed.
best.
And then last year they did something. The whole theme for the 50th was like the Golden Dragon, so they actually had like edible gold sprinkles on the
It
pizza.
was so good too.
Also
That
good.
was good.
Not as good as Dragon's Breath. And then this year they did the mac and cheese pizza
With bacon.
With bacon.
Pizza of ice and fire or
And,
whatever.
yeah, and then you could either get it ice with ranch or fire with buffalo sauce. And I thought it was pretty good.
Did you try both?
I personally did not. I only tried the buffalo.
Oh yeah, me too. Fire only.
What, you, Mr. Empty 3 packets of red pepper flakes on a single slice of pizza?
That
I
is
know
a
what
really
I like.
obnoxious nickname.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So
How
good.
long-winded.
Wait till you see the business cards we're having made up.
I can't believe Hotbox is only local to India. I thought it was like a U.S. America chain. That's crazy. They should start expanding immediately. That's a great company.
But
Yeah.
then it'll be bad.
Yeah, then all the other ones will be terrible.
Hot Box is out of business.
The franchisees will never have the passion of the original. But yeah, good stuff. Good pizza.
Yep.
But then we went to bed.
Surprisingly. The next
Oh.
morning, while everyone else went to the Waffle House, Brandon and I went and did our yearly CrossFit workout.
Yes.
Which
Once
this
a
year,
year is all it takes to stay in shape.
it's true. It's true. I can vouch for that. This year,
I'm gonna venture that we had more fun.
I disagree.
I actually I hated it the least this year of any year.
Oh my god, Sean!
Ringing endorsement.
No.
Now I feel bad.
No. That's
I
my
had steak and
relationship.
eggs.
No, you don't.
That's my relationship with working out. Like I still do not enjoy working out. I've just learned to love having worked out.
You need to do
Ugh.
more CrossFit
Gross.
Clearly.
until you're a full cult member.
Should have went to Waffle House and had steak and eggs.
Or
Yeah.
chocolate chip
We did have
pancakes,
steak
which
and
I'm
eggs.
still having a craving for.
you never got him. Huh?
Never got them.
Oh no.
CrossFit was great though, Sean. I gotta say, you were really good. You hung in there. You were a trooper. You did way better this year than you did last year.
Ouch.
No, he was great. Last year, you had to take a knee, and there was the salties, and he was spitting. This year, no problem at all.
Well, that's because the
Did the
place we
workout.
were working out in actually had ventilation. Like last year, we were in like a closed, dingy, small. Like it used to be a warehouse, and then a brewery moved in, and then the brewery moved out, and they moved in all the exercise equipment.
Yes.
I will say there was much less complaining for the rest of the weekend this year. Last year
that
was
is
like,
true.
good God.
That is true. That is true. He crushed it. Normally, CrossFit though, it is hot. Like it really, you haven't done a workout until you have protein denaturation in your brain. So I'm kind of disappointed in that one this year. It was good
Yikes.
though. You did great, Dave G did great.
Yep, Dave was there. I don't know. I feel like we'll probably go back to that one next year, right? That was definitely the best experience. As long as we can keep them at $15 for a drop in.
Yeah, and they didn't have shirts though, so I don't know.
Catherine, no one threw up this year, and I didn't throw up last year. I was teetering on the
You had the
tippy-toppy edge.
salties when you have to spit all that.
The
But that
salties?
also could
I
be
thought-
the fact that
we call them the
we drank
foamies.
so much. You call them
Oh,
the
God.
foamies?
Neither
In
of
Canada,
them
we
are
call them the
great.
salties.
The salty.
When you get that salty taste in your mouth, you got to
Ugh.
spit.
Yeah, that was about right. So waffles were good. Yeah, that's just the
Yep.
one right across from the hotel, the little airport cluster there, right?
Yeah.
I've been to
yeah.
that one.
Mhm.
Did the waitress have an excellent name like she did last time?
What was her name? It was like
Can't remember
Rose
now.
something.
I thought it was
Rosebud.
like Giggity or something. It was like
Wasn't it? I feel like it was like Destiny with like 3 Ys.
Yeah. Thursday was the Cardboard the Ring special listener event, was it not? That was like essentially the first thing that we did.
No,
Friday
not at
was.
all.
Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
okay, I
Friday.
skipped the whole day.
Yeah, so anyway, then we went straight
Oh,
from
we are on Friday.
Yeah, we are.
I
We
don't
went.
think Thursday actually happened.
I can't remember what happened after the Arkham event.
I don't have the evidence to suggest otherwise, sadly.
I
God,
had to
we
have
all
done
missed
more
a
than
day.
find a bathroom. That's insane.
So we went and had lunch at the what was it, the 122? It was the bar and restaurant in the Crown Plaza, which
Oh, jeez, Louise, yeah.
which was the start of Brandon's his con long quest to get a Caesar salad.
Oh my god, I forgot about the Caesar salad problems because it started to get really upsetting.
So we went and we got sat, and it was the quiet reprieve from the con hall that I was looking for
Yes.
all weekend. So there were like 6 people in the restaurant aside from us,
Yeah,
and
it was nice
Six
and
is a
quiet.
good
in there.
sign.
somehow it was still like 90 minutes from ordering to leaving,
Things were quiet, too quiet.
and we ended up.
It
Being,
was terrible service.
Yes,
oh my god,
it was real bad.
It was the worst.
Oh wow!
the servers. No, never mind.
Glad I had my own lunch plans that day.
The beer was excellent.
Yes, the beer was good.
It was like what was it called? Like Hoperial Assault or something like this.
Yeah, it was a.
Oh no, it was Imperial Hop Salt
yes
or something.
Yep.
That's still
Hemperial.
just as bad.
It was
Hemperial
Hemperial
assault
Assault.
because it was a
Hemperial.
hemp
Empire
infused
Strikes Back. Was that it?
Yeah,
It
Empire
was Empire Strikes
wasn't it?
Back.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh!
Yeah, that's what I said, wasn't it? Empire Strikes Back.
It was Star Wars
You
themed.
just kept making it Imperial.
Imperial entanglements.
Well, I just gave them a free name for next year, so there you go.
Anyway,
It
so
sucked.
the beer.
No, the beer was great.
Oh, okay.
The restaurant though, they gotta hurry it up.
Yeah, that
Like
was
it's
not good.
Gen Con. You can't dawdle, man. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Well, they proved pretty definitively that you can.
Yes.
I
So-
think Friday morning was when me and Nick demoed Arkham Horror 3rd Edition.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah.
How was that?
So there was a point where everyone was off doing, I don't remember what. So I was like, okay, let me try to get in this demo. And I was waiting right by the table that Jenny, because I wanted to use her as the investigator. And then right as I sat down, Nick happened to meet up with me. So he sat down to play as well. So they announced the new edition at the in-flight report on Wednesday, and so at first I was like, I don't know, like I already have the second edition. I don't know if
Yeah.
new edition, but this game is it's not really Arkham Horror. It's a whole new game essentially.
But it
So
is
much
like it still
slicker.
felt like Arkham.
Sure.
Horror. You know what I mean? Like it still had
Yeah.
the same. But it was different enough to make me want to buy it.
Right. It's kind of a melding of like all the other games, especially the LCG.
Yes, yes,
Like
definitely.
now there's Doom that's trying to advance certain goals like the LCG. You have to get clues to advance your own goals like the LCG. And still, instead of the old map board, now there's these tiles that are different depending on what scenario you're playing. It's actually scenario based now.
That's neat.
And there's a few other things.
Patronize us.
Oh shit! Is my girl Agnes in it? I see a standee. Yes.
Yeah, she's there. I don't think she was at Gen Con, but she's definitely.
They said that they had all 12 investigators.
Oh, I guess they broke it up then.
But yeah, they did 4 to a table. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, each table is different.
I
Instead of the
can't wait for
Mythos
the tutorial
card,
video.
I'm sure they'll do one.
In
but we'll see
Arkham
if-
Horror 3rd Edition, the players
Yes!
take the role. Kevin Brighting.
Great.
So did you guys think that you would ever play Arkham Horror like in the rest of your life before this was announced?
No, no, I did not.
I mean,
I can safely
yeah.
say I did not. Unless Nick
Not
was very
really, no.
enthusiastic about bringing it to a game night, then I would.
I do like breaking it out every so often. Second edition. I only have the base game. I don't have any of the expansions, so it doesn't get.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have the Black Go to the Woods expansion, but it doesn't get super crazy. You know, games are still only like 4 hours instead of 8. So
I will say I
Setup's
was
down
not
to like
sup-
2.5.
yeah.
that was one thing they did mention for this is that according to the demo, so put an asterisk on that, but he seemed like he knew what he was talking about. The setup time is apparently reduced to 30 minutes, I think he said, or 20 minutes instead.
20, but
20 minutes, yeah.
Oh, look
Instead
at that!
of-
They have little. I'm just looking at the picture that Nick posted here. This is my first time seeing the fact that they actually made a little deck holder out of the inbox components. That's
I don't remember
new.
seeing that.
Yeah, I don't think they had
there.
it there, but I guess it looks like it's included in there. Otherwise, they wouldn't show it. Yeah.
So, Ian, how did you feel about drawing tokens from the bag?
Well, I've become very good at it over the past couple playing that. So yeah, that's one of the other innovations. There used to be Mythos cards that you would draw that would say, spawn a gate here and spawn a clue here and do whatever. But now you basically draw these tokens, and then that determines what bad stuff happens to you.
Yeah, each token has a different symbol, and the ancient one, or the great old one that you're going has the definitions for the symbols on their card, as well as the investigators sometimes have symbol triggers on their own stuff. It really felt
I was about to say what you just described could word for word describe the LCG.
Right, exactly. So I don't like that. To me, like, it felt kind of like a well, we gotta have a bag, we gotta have a cup. Like, that mechanic could have been easily put in somewhere else, because all it is just a random symbol. But at the same time, it's like, it felt Arkham. So
Yeah,
I guess
I don't know why it's not just a deck of cards.
exactly. Exactly, but I guess they did that
in-house. They're like, oh, bags are in.
Yeah.
Bags are so hot this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if maybe they'll play with cards taking out or adding tokens or something. I guess that's a space they could do stuff with now. But
yeah. Well, I forgot to ask too, like, if the composition of the bag is fixed, or if it changes with each great old one, or if it changes, like, if you can choose difficulty.
Scenario.
It is, okay.
Yeah, somewhere in one of the previews, I think you can see this set up the bag with tokens X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I do like the fact that it's shorter setup time, a shorter game.
Oh, yeah.
To be 3 hours now instead of like 8. So overall, I was super positive about it. I think people who like old school kind of messy Arkham, because that game was it's older, it has messy mechanics, but it has that character to it, might not like this one as much, because this is definitely a more modern like game that incorporates those mechanics. But for me, I like it. Now I'm probably gonna get it for sure, whereas before I was on the fence.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I was the only person in existence who liked the old skill focus mechanic.
Yeah, I know. Everyone we were talking about 3rd edition with who hadn't played the first one, like, that's what I go to. Like, God, this game's so fiddly, it's ridiculous. Like, you don't even have static skills. You have skill sliders that you can adjust per turn, and it's so gross. Which is so
cool!
And Nick's like, wait, what? Those are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Now, I didn't play a demo, so I am reserving all judgment, but this game will sell me if they can get playtime to 90 minutes. Because if I want something that's like OG, 2nd edition Arkham Horror, I will go play Eldritch Horror, and I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with it. I wish it were 90 minutes too, but I will accept that it's 2+ hours. But yeah, well, I mean, it's probably my favorite board game still, but that's my one. If we could get it to 90 minutes, I would be such a happy camper. Did they say what this is going to look like?
I don't think he said, and we only played the 2 rounds, so it's really hard to say exactly what it would feel like. But I will say that the 2 rounds that we played, for whatever reason, and I can't really pinpoint why, but it felt better than when I played Eldritch Horror. Because Eldritch Horror, it seems like we'll have one good turn, and then I'm just kind of muddling around. Like, there's so much for me to do, and I don't know which one I'm going to go to because they're all halfway across the world. So it might have just been the focus. I've always been a fan of Arkham Horror because it takes place in one city, and it's relatively easy to traverse the board. That might be why I'm more open to this.
You were never further than like 3 spaces from going anywhere else. It
That's
was
cool.
the map setup that I saw, and you can pay to move further, so you can get to the problems quicker. You're not like, oh, I move as far as I can, and I just burn around waiting to get to.
That is one problem with Eldritch, where you just like, I want to do this thing. I'll get there in 3 turns.
And I also think in Eldritch, They fixed this a little bit with expansions once they added like focus actions and stuff, but you would have the turns where you just don't really have anything to do.
Yeah.
Because you just want to get into a certain spot. But this one, they have a lot of actions. You can focus, you can ward, which is removing doom from a space. So I feel like they've added kind of enough actions that you're always going to have something to do on your turn, which is good.
So, do we think it's... okay, first of all, did they announce that it's going to be on release at Arkham Knights? That's
No,
the
they
buzz,
said
but I
Q4.
assumed
They
that
said
was all
Q4,
speculation.
right?
Okay.
But yeah,
I mean, it would make...
speculation is that there will be an early release and then the regular early release at Arkham Knights, then a regular release later.
I mean, it would make perfect sense. Like, where else are you
That's
going
just
to
a
release
bunch
it?
guessing, though.
Yeah.
That is. It is just
Yeah.
guessing.
Okay.
Did you guys say that the setup time was reduced to 30 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they said 20. I was wrong.
Oh my
but
god.
20
That's how long
minutes
I want my
and,
game to be, not my setup. That's
and 3
unbelievable.
hour playtime. I think 3
It's
hours. Is
Hard pass.
It's a commitment. They're fun
No
games, though,
kidding.
once you get it rolling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, what else happened on Friday? The Cardboard of the Rings event, which was fun
Yes.
to go to. I think they just put out their episode that they recorded live at GenCon. So if you guys are part of the Lord of the Rings community, I definitely recommend go checking that out. That was a cool idea. They actually sat down with the artist of their custom art piece for the year, several members of the community, and then a couple of old timers as well.
Are we on that
You
episode,
just want to say
John?
that you were on it?
I'm on that episode. Oh, I think I haven't listened to it myself, but I can.
I'm pretty sure your part got cut. Sorry, dude.
I can confirm that we did record. And their swag this year, I have to give credit where it's due. It was pretty top notch.
It was amazing, yes.
No one.
I mean, well, we don't want to talk about how, compare it to the old swag, you know what I mean?
As a non-Lord of the Rings player, I was really impressed.
Super impressed, yeah.
Like as
It
someone
was
who
great
doesn't
event.
have any stake in the game, yeah.
And just a super quick shout out for people that used to listen or do listen to Cardboard of the Rings. The art that we used for making the play mats for the swag last year, they gave that to me because originally we gave it away to a listener. So getting that back was a huge, wonderful treat. So thanks to Don
that
and
listener is now a host. The circle came around full.
right. Yeah, so it came around. Oh, and Nick has just posted the art. Man, it's amazing, eh?
Yeah, beautiful.
they
I have two of those
framed it up.
playmats and I love them.
Yeah, now I have the original. So super special gift. Meant a lot to me.
And shout out to our good friend Dave who drew that art
Stoked book.
by the sweat of his brow.
Oh.
And I still look at the orange. What is that? Like loincloth of the troll that Brian suggested.
The
so,
crotch rag.
yeah.
It's all that remains of me.
So Friday night when we were going to do karaoke, but it ended up not
Yes.
working because
Yeah.
just
Friday night was
geography.
crypto.
Oh yeah,
So then
that's right.
We just went back and forth essentially.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Friday night was the night of unnecessary lift charges.
What did we do when we got back? Oh, we played Decoy
Decrypto.
or whatever it's called. Decrypto.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
Which-
is so fun.
Which, if I don't think we've ever mentioned it on this podcast before, it's never come up. But if anyone is out there who likes code names and that kind of, captain-led guessing team, I suppose code names isn't kind of in the same way of teams. But anyway, that kind of game, Decrypto has usurped that for me in every regard because
It's amazing.
there's more game to it. In each
Yes.
given game, everyone gets to participate in kind of a more varied capacity.
Yes.
And I think way funnier stories come out of it.
Agreed.
It's harder to explain.
Oh, it's terrible. Like, anybody trying to teach this game is failing.
So I've learned. I'm now like 0 for 3 on people understanding the hell I'm saying when I'm trying to teach
You know
this
what? You
game.
just gotta start. Just start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I took one round, I was like, "Oh my god!" And also, don't make the new person be the clue giver.
That was great.
I gave like the just like bullseye, right on the money clues, revealing everything the other team needed to know.
Pegasus.
Your team ended up winning still, so
Yeah,
We did. I think that's not a testament to our skill, but rather their lack of.
the fact that first word wasn't Trojan, like I don't think anything that I took for truth has swept the rug out from under me.
Mythical horse.
excitement.
Excitement. Yeah.
I threw it off with excitement. So
You killed it, Ian. It was so good.
So then when Bone was thrown out later,
I mean, that's what sealed the deal.
right?
God damn it.
Pegasus are known, or are they? What's the plural of Pegasus?
Pegasi?
Yeah.
Pegasi.
I don't know that
I'm
there's
gonna
a
stop
technical
there.
term for it.
I'll let you know
Drider.
when I see more than one Pegasus.
it's called.
Ian,
an
imagine
excitement.
how much excitement there'd be if there was many of them.
Exactly.
People would be losing it.
So then,
Fun game.
yeah. So then we went back and I think just chilled. Now, Brandon, I do want to talk for a quick second about our personal beer exchange in addition to the beer exchange we did at After Dark.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm sipping on the Kolsch I got at the After Dark Beer Exchange, which I want to say came from...
Is it the Fort Point Kolsch?
Yes.
Or is it... Okay, yeah, that was from me.
Excellent. It's good. I enjoy it. But anyway,
Yeah. Okay.
Glad to hear it.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the Drider picture.
Oh, God.
oh, the Drider. I had mercifully looked away from Discord.
Indiana Lyft driver, if you are a listener, we apologize for our Drider discussion.
Not at all.
No,
You mean-
no.
That person was laughing.
It was a conversation that needed to happen. I don't know if we should get into details, but the listeners deserve to know the
We
broad
discussed
strokes. Nick,
Friday.
tell them.
I don't even remember how we got onto it. All I remember is business in the front and spider in the back.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
And then
all
Sean.
That's the PG way to put it.
That is, yeah.
But
Sean. Oh God, yeah, no, we can't talk about it on there.
no, I think that even that might be
There was a
little crude for us.
distribution of something, but I think that's best saved for in person.
So back to the beer talk, Sean. I hope you're
Please.
trying to steer it towards Hemperor.
I
because,
sure
oh
was.
my God,
I sure was. Every beer.
you've ruined me on all other beers. Thank you very much for that.
Well, I was so happy because
As soon as he drank it, he got in bed.
I've tried that beer on like 3 or 4 different friends that I thought would love it, and you're the first person to meet my level of enthusiasm for that beer.
It's incredible.
I've been drinking it all
absolutely
summer.
Fantastic. Yeah, like I only have 5 left, and I've already written in my calendar on like momentous occasions when they will be consumed. Folks, if you like beer and you live in America, go get some Hemper. You will not regret it. What a great beer, man. Oh my God.
It does to warn everyone who might go out and try this. It is very good. It is a hemp infused pale ale. I don't know if it's an IPA or if it's just a pale ale, but when you pop the lid on a Hemperor, it smells like someone just lit up a joint. Like there's no actual
Yes.
weed or THC in the beer. It's all just the fibers, but
That's right.
It still smells dank as hell.
Yeah. It'll feel like you're in like a VW microbus. It is so
But it's so
dank.
good. But it's so good.
The taste is fantastic. It's really, really good.
Mm-hmm. So Saturday, hopping into Saturday, when did we do Lord of the Rings? Was that Saturday morning, afternoon?
It was not.
I think it was
Four,
Friday,
I felt
wasn't
like.
it?
Was it
No.
Friday?
Does anybody
I
know?
think it was Friday.
We played together, right?
yeah, this is that GenCon haze hitting. One thing I know
Oh
happened.
yeah, we did because it was after the Cardboard Rings event. We went
Okay.
to play.
So that was
Yeah.
on Friday.
Fun.
So I have to, and even though I'm not on a Lord of the Rings podcast anymore, I feel like I have to say this publicly at some point. I felt this year's Gen Con Lord of the Rings scenario was a goddamn home run. That was so freaking fun.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah.
Agreed.
Wow, we even sold Nick on it. Normally Nick's harder on the LCG.
The only thing, and I even told Caleb this afterwards, I just wish there was a little bit more interaction between the two teams.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I thought it was very well designed. I really loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
For
go on, Ian. You're about to do what I thought I was going to do.
okay,
You'll probably do
for
it
the
better.
For the people not familiar with Lord of the Rings, they've kind of done how Arkham does, where it's just like a special scenario for Gen Con, cooperative like usual. But this time they mixed up the formula and did a kind of competitive format not like intensely competitive. It's not a tournament or anything, but basically you can play like 2 versus 2 teams, and you essentially build the encounter deck for the other team, and you each take turns building the scenario that the other team has built for you, and whoever finishes first wins, or finishes at all, as the case may be. So yeah, but I don't know, I think we probably talked last year around this time about kind of how we weren't as big of a fan of last year's scenario because it was just so damn hard.
Oh, the one that didn't let you play cards? Yeah. Wasn't
and
a
this
giant
one,
fan of that.
Since you're building for another team, like it's challenging, but not brutal difficulty, and the challenge is more what you're doing versus the other team, like that kind of competition. So
yeah, and we were Ian and I versus Sean and Brandon, and the 2 encounter decks that came out of that matchup were the exact same except for one encounter set.
Which was funny because I think I can't speak for you guys and how you constructed yours, but I just kind of handed things to Brandon and let him pick, and I was like, oh yeah, all right, these seem good. Throw them in there.
They all seem bad.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I was definitely going for like, anything that increases threat. Like, let's try and threat them out. And we actually got pretty close because I think Sean ended at like 46 or 47.
No, I technically threaded out, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, that was my goal, was like, let's go for multiple encounter card draw and threading them out. Like, that was what I was going for. And then it ended up being the almost exact same setup that Brandon had chosen for us.
Yeah.
Except
which was based on artwork, so that's just kind of funny.
But I think the format was really cool, and I want to second what Ian said, where this is very fun as a casual competitive format. There's no way you'd be able to convincingly run any kind of tournament or competitive based OP on this, but I think it'd be kind of cool to see something potentially like this for Arkham in the future. It obviously wouldn't take the same form because they're such different games, but it'd be kind of cool to be able to see some kind of like competitive race mechanic thrown in for some kind of GenCon event or something.
What do you think would happen if you used the entire card pool to create an encounter deck? Could you create an encounter deck that like you can't go more than like 4 turns? I think that could also be fun too.
Yeah, just all the surge cards.
Oh, you mean especially selecting them, not just random?
Yeah, you just have the entire deck cycle itself.
One turn, you just keep drawing and then shuffling the deck, and then
there are enough cards in the card pool, in the encounter card pool, with Doomed and Surge on them, that I'm sure that you could get a turn 1 victory with the encounter deck if you wanted.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Surge and Doomed. You just Doom Surge into Oblivion.
So, what else?
So much for my new format.
But anyway, I would throw it out there to anyone who hasn't tried out Lord of the Rings yet. Go ahead and do that. And I had a chance to try out the Lord of the Rings digital card game, which oddly enough is still Lord of the Rings the living card game, because I'm not quite sure who made the decision that the 2 games should still be called the same thing, but the decision was made, so here we are. The digital card game. I have kind of stopped following it. I watched like the first 3 or 4 streams after they announced it and kind of dropped off after that. It's like, the aesthetics are really nice. It still looks a little Hearthstone-y, but that's fine because, if you're going to copy anyone, copy the king. But it feels a lot different, and I'll be very interested to see when they add co-op to it what kind of flavor that adds.
It looks fairer and feels fouler.
Oh, A+, man. A+.
That's my ultimate assessment of the entire game.
You actually won, though.
I won, but hold on. We won.
Yeah.
We won as a team, Nick. Let's not be crazy here. But I feel like we almost couldn't have not won, because I was just kind of like, well, there's these 2 things match, like willpower, click. Like,
I'm gonna be honest, dude,
don't feel compelled by it.
There were multiple times when I was like, no, do this. No, do this. No, do this instead.
I was going to do that same thing.
I don't know.
You think I was going to make a suboptimal play, Nick?
I'm going to venture a guess that there were suboptimal plays on deck waiting to come out.
Let's go to the tape.
One click away. I don't know. I just felt like it was too maybe, and you kind of touched upon it in your little introduction of the topic here, Sean. Is why did they call it the same name? Because it's pretty different. Like there's some similarities, but I don't know. There's enough differences where it just doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings, the card game. I don't know. I liked it, but am I excited to play it again? Not really, to be honest.
It's like if they took the Lord of the Rings, the living card game, the physical format, and turned it into like an appetizer. Like they took everything that Lord of the Rings has and they distilled it down to like a bite-sized chunk. I'm actually really, really interested in it. As someone who's the Lord of the Rings card game, but has never actually bought into it, like I'm actually interested to see where this one goes, and I'm kind of excited to get at least the base game and see what it's like. I'm also very interested in what the release model is going to look like too. So,
and what's the pricing? That's important.
Exactly.
Too. Like I'll pay 99 cents for a new Quest, but I don't know. I'm cheaper when it comes to digital. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think at least last I heard, and I'm way behind on this, so grain of salt. But last I heard was you are capable of gaining everything through playing and gaining the in-game currency. I think the hero packs, which is and they're not random. They're all, and again, this might be outdated info, but last I checked, they were all not random. So you get a hero and like 5 complimentary cards or something for like $5, and you get full copies. Have they changed that?
They've changed the model so many.
Yeah.
There's like hero packs with a player. There's the quest that you buy. I don't remember the exact prices, but
they don't have any prices listed on the
Well, that's because it's still so in flux. Early access drops in just over 2 weeks, so I'll be interested to see how that goes. Like, I'm bought in on the game. I really want this to do well, even if it has a bit of a rough start. So I'm in on early access. I got the early deluxe starter or whatever. Like, I want this to go well. So I'm ready to hop.
I enjoyed my demo. I got a chance to play it while everyone else was playing Keyforge because those demos took longer than I expected. But I have been following the streams here and there, but it's different to get your hands on it. I think there's enough game there, like decisions to be made, but it's hard to judge because we played was essentially like Passage Through Mirkwood, or
that's true.
Or The Gathering for Arkham folks, that would be the equivalent, like the very beginning intro scenario,
super vanilla.
So I'm curious to see, like, once they add different mechanics to the quest, if it feels more meaty and there's more to it, which I'm really hoping there will be.
Right now, it feels like they hit all the big bullet points of like explaining the print system. You know, like if you're like, oh, your threat can go higher, and that way you have up to 3 heroes and you play allies. What'll be interesting is what they do specifically for a digital game. Right now, it does not feel, other than the sneak attack, which just pulls a random ally, as opposed to
that was weird.
Yeah, we totally had Brandon set up for a sneak attack Gandalf, and then we play sneak attack and the stupid 0-2 elf out there, and I'm like,
wandering
that?
That's
no,
the
it was
stuff
like
that'll be interesting to see what they do
or something.
Loom Weaver.
It was really some 0 attack, and all we needed was attack at that point.
Yeah.
Now, Brian,
I'm really looking forward. I hope I'm sure at some point they'll port it to the phone and have multiplayer, and I'm really looking forward to a day when I can just hop on my phone and play a multiplayer game with someone. That would be the ideal.
I really hope that the core, like the base game, isn't just a rehash of the core set scenarios. I really hope they release an original scenario, considering that it's an entirely new format. There's so much they can do with it.
I think they are,
because want us to rebuy it. It needs to be different.
Yeah.
Because originally the scenarios they showed, they had an Anduin analog and conflict at the Carrack and etc. But eventually, recently, they announced that they're not necessarily scrapping those, but they're putting those on the back burner, and they're actually focusing on creating a brand new,
beautiful
campaign experience, whatever that means. First thing that we're doing. They said it's more narrative based. I also don't know what that means, so we'll see.
It means more of those screens in between the action.
Yeah,
right.
With the Galadriel impression voice actor.
I was about to say, the voice acting is pretty good.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys had sound?
I did.
I've heard it on the streams. I don't think they had actual.
Oh, okay.
What does it read everything?
Am I imagining
I'd
that?
be down for that.
Yep.
Does she read every? Oh, she does. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's voice acting for all the screens.
Because I'm gonna be honest, as soon as they show up, just to, like show a wall of text,
Next,
even if it's narrative. Yeah. I'm like, give me the game.
If they had the FFG tutorial guy, I would listen to every damn word of it.
In Lord
I
of
hope
the
it
Rings,
ends up being
the
good.
the living card game,
I
which
feel
is the
like,
second living card game.
I feel bad that I was negative Nancy about it, but I don't know about you guys. I didn't get sucked up into it. We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely a different. It's definitely a different game from the physical one. So just because you like the physical one, like the digital one, in my as an outsider, Are
they going to release some kind of like appetite whetting free stuff? I feel like that's important.
I think the base set is free to
I don't
play.
think we've heard anything about that.
I think that was the intent originally. I don't know if they've changed it.
Oh,
okay. Well, I guess because you guys were saying that you can earn everything through in-game play.
You can. It's just going to take a
16
bunch
years.
of plays of the same stuff.
Yeah,
and I
you're going to
think,
have to grind it.
Like, you basically get the starter, as far as I understand it, is like your free-to-play entry level purchase.
This is really their make or break, though, because I think, depending on how this goes, will determine if they try to adapt any of the other LCGs.
Yeah. Well, and they haven't cheaped out on it at all. The production quality is super high.
Yeah,
it looks polished.
Animations are great, and everything ran well, so it's not like we had any bugs or anything.
Brian, you've been quiet for a while. I know you were initially excited when it was released, and then you kind of tapered off. Where are you at with it now?
I will be impressed if they manage to come up with something to bring me back.
Are you going to give it another shot, though, or are you just...
No.
Okay.
What caused you to check out on it, B?
They, as far as I'm concerned, revealed their true marketing colors, which I knew were in there the whole time. I was just hoping they weren't going to do the crap they're doing, but all the stuff they're pulling about the early access, the pricing points that we've heard so far, I just think this game is going to be unbelievably expensive, and I'm not interested.
Wait, are you talking about early access in general or the starter?
Both.
Because I share some complaints
I
about
think early access as a concept is bullshit and
agreed.
Should be stopped.
But again, the age we live in.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I would love it if freemium went away too, but that shit ain't happening. So
yeah, but this is going to be my own little capitalist consumer protest. I don't know. It just looks to me like this game just stinks of money grab. They're making it because it's going to make money, not because somebody had a vision. And I'm not interested.
That's why it's a company and not a charity.
If
they have to make money.
About porting it over, they would have just done like a match 3 game, though. Like,
hey, where's my ring?
I think they are trying to here. It's just what was that?
I said they would have made, hey, where's my ring? Or, hey, that's my ring. There it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were making an actual point. Continue.
No, I forgot it, actually. Never mind.
They need to actually give true value, like Steak and Shake.
I have been as much of a doubter on this as maybe a lot of people. But it does feel like there is intention here. It's just that they did not know enough when they announced it.
I would agree with that assessment.
Yeah,
and I think that's really colored, at least my perception of it.
And the way that I read that is they didn't know enough because they didn't have the vision. They didn't bother to flesh it out and realize, hey, we've got a really good idea. This could turn into something really cool. They just know it's going to make money, so they made it.
Well, it could be that they were forced to announce it early,
it's Transformers 5. Like, that's what this is.
Let's be reasonable here.
Well, no. What? They announced Transformers 5?
God damn it.
They've already did like 6 of them.
Oh, sweet.
But, Brian, it could be that they were forced, like, it could be that, like, higher-ups made them announce it. You know what I mean? Like maybe they didn't have, like the secret sauce ready or whatever yet. They weren't totally in on it yet, but they knew they had to announce it by this date, and because they had a working product, they're like, well, I guess we better just do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not separating the developers out from. I'm taking the whole company down.
Sure. Okay.
Like, yeah,
you go.
I mean, I totally get the discrepancy between upper management and those who are actually in the trenches. I get it, but you're all a part of the same company. I don't feel like this game has. I might be wrong. I'm totally open to the idea that I'm wrong on this, but I don't feel like the game grew out of a true vision. I feel like it just grew out of dollar signs in somebody's eyeballs, and that's it.
And I don't disagree that that's in the realm of feasibility, but I think the explanation is just far more simple. I think it's a game company that's new, and they hopped on the announcement too early, just as an honest error for being the first time doing this. And we're just seeing a bunch of the kind of not rounded edges and ugly things that are part of development that normally the consumer would be guarded from seeing.
I mean, imagine if they announced it this GenCon instead of last December. Everyone was down on the game because there hadn't been a pack in 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bought in. I want it to do well. I'm hoping it'll do well. The demo I played was fun. It wasn't very deep, and I personally just didn't, I guess, understand how the threat mechanic worked. So I was on the last boss. I had Gandalf in my hand. I was saving up one turn for resources to play him down and do the final damage as a Gandalf bomb. And I threaded out. And it was like, oh, come on.
Same thing happened to me.
You guys didn't win your demos?
Nope. Threaded out.
Should have had me coaching.
We didn't have the think tank behind us, though.
Apparently, they are working on fixing the threat bar now.
It looked like there was a number showing what your actual threat was,
based on some of that
spectrum. Yeah,
it was more just I don't think the tutorial in that specific case explained what the hell threat
what
did.
Tutorial?
Yeah, well, there's
I will
drag stuff,
and it's like a thermometer. It's weird.
One thing I will say is they seem to feedback from what I've seen so far, like all the streams and stuff. Like, people have made comments and they've changed a ton in response, so that's
good. That is good.
Oh yeah, they've been pretty open on the streams about what ideas they've already considered or what they've are thinking of looking at and stuff.
That's promising.
Yeah, like MTG Arena.
They have a good community manager guy, which board game companies should look into having community managers these days, like video game companies do.
No doubt. So then moving on, early Saturday afternoon was our Mythos Busters event, and I thought that went swimmingly well. For those who aren't on our social media, the swag we made this year, Nick, since you were kind of the mastermind behind it, do you want to do the audio reveal?
I'm sorry, I was reading Hobbit memes. What am I doing?
Swag. What was it? A productive use of your time, nonetheless.
I'm going to close that page of Google. So
I mean, it was relevant.
That's true. It was. I decided that I wanted to do, because I like the custom cards, and I really toyed around with that recently with the custom scenarios and fan-made stuff, and I decided that I wanted to do something in that realm for our swag, or at least I decided that I would posit that to the group. And since no one else had any really, immediate objections or alternatives, that's what we ended up doing. So I
that's how most decisions get made on Mythos Busters.
That's very true. One person has an idea and suddenly they're in charge.
Fucking fine, no feedback. I'll just go do it.
So I commissioned an artist to create an original piece of art for us for our emergency quiche card, which obviously is an alt art version of emergency cash. And then I just was like, well, we should have something else too, not just that one card. So I just, made a meme version of Fine Clothes with the Dapper Dog meme. I don't have an image readily available of those cards. I'll see if I can track one down.
That Dapper Dog meme is pretty damn funny.
It's one of my favorites, yeah. And I even made sure that the flavor text was representative of one of my favorite versions of that meme. It's just really good. And people liked it from what I could tell. Like, the people who got them were really excited, and people were using them right away in our scenario. So exciting. And since we have that piece of artwork for Emergency Quiche, we're exploring using that in the future for continued swag of a similar design. So
we're gonna ride that one in joke we have straight.
Yeah, the ground.
I'm toying around with Sharon Zoba and
Sharon
Mississippi
Zoba.
Manatee and
Madam Love Ranch.
Yeah, Madam Love Ranch.
Madam Love Ranch. I must have missed that episode because this is new to me. I am gonna feverishly type this stuff down.
I think that might have been just in mod chat. That might not have been on podcast.
I think it was just
but we're bringing it on.
I would say we have a lot of jokes in mod chat, but I definitely want to make sure that we get card community is going to be at least aware of. So, technically, Jizz Mulligan would be the next one, right?
Yeah,
like Jizz Mulligan would have to be the.
Good Christ. So anyway, the listener event went really well. Thank you to everyone who joined us. I'm trying to think. I sat down for, what did we end up playing? Carnival.
Yeah.
There were
Josh and who was our fourth?
See, this is where I get trapped because I do remarkably few games, but it's amid so many faces that I start to lose things.
He was demoing but not Banana
shoot
games. He worked for the Red Dragon Inn people.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I'm terrible with first names. I'd be able to pick him out of a lineup, and I actually Cheetah is his username on Discord. But anyway,
beloved listener.
Yeah, I was gonna try to avoid the names simply because of that pitfall, but there we go. So there were a couple games of Slumber Up. I think someone was trying to round up a round of Labyrinths. Did anyone actually end up being able to do that?
I don't remember seeing it played.
Well, I guess we failed them in that regard. But anyway, the event went really well. We played several games. I ended up getting a really cool Mystic pin from a listener who was just like, this was the year of pins, wasn't it? Like everyone was just decked out to the nines and all the different pins they had
and all
collected.
kinds of cool swag. Someone had action trackers.
Yes, that was from Chris.
Came out.
Chris, yep.
Yep. And shout out to Josh. He got me a cool Enterprise E hat that I wore today. So
is that the one that looks like a trucker hat?
Yeah.
Or no, like an old military hat.
It's like a naval style hat.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to see a picture of that.
Okay.
Here, I took a picture of the entire display. There was more than just Star Wars or Star Trek there. Oh, I appear to have deleted it. Sorry.
Sean, was Action Tracker Chris the same as Beer Chris?
The very same.
Wow, that guy brought a lot to GenCon.
Yeah, he came prepared, and everything was in fine taste.
Nick, sorry to rewind a huge ton. What is your all-time favorite Dapper Dog meme? I gotta know because I freaking love it.
I think the one that I used as the quote is the one that I go back to. I don't know if it's my all-time favorite, but it's the one that sticks in my head whenever I think of Dapper Dog. It's Benson, pull the car around, I would like to chase it. Like that's, or there's like Benson, go outside and ring the doorbell. I want to bark at the door for 5 minutes, or it's just stuff like that. Like
my favorite one is Benson, bring the finest rugs because I want to scoot my ass upon them, or something like that. Where he's gonna scoot his butt on the nice rugs.
Yeah.
God, what a great meme. Okay, thank you.
So then to close out Gen Con, of course, as mentioned, we did After Dark, which this year I thought was a smashing success. There's always a little bit of wind up as people filter in where I kind of walk around nervous because I just don't know what to do with myself. But people showed up and brought their good games, and it was just a fantastic time. Guys, what was the game of After Dark this year for y'all?
Well, hang on. Can we talk about Nyctophobia real quick?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Nyctophobia.
And the Destiny draft?
And the Destiny
of course.
draft.
Man, yeah, you're skipping all over the
Well, I mean, fuck me for trying to keep us moving here.
Can we talk about my pivotal Destiny moment?
Please.
What? When you decided not to play in the draft, or
No, I had never played Destiny before, and then Brandon and I sat down and we played with a couple demo decks, and I beat him. And then he asked me what I thought of the game because I've always been like, it doesn't seem great. And I was like, no, I didn't like it. And then I think Brandon decided to stop talking to me for the rest of the day.
I let you beat me so that you would increase your enjoyment of the game and perhaps get more involved in it. So
you should have played in a way that you had more fun with, I guess.
I can't believe you don't like that game. You know what I mean? Like, what is your deal?
I honestly don't. I think it's just the dice. I think it's just these giant.
Oh, the best part.
Oh, gross! Shut your mouth, sir. It's a card game. Like
you can re-roll at the cost of cards.
That's fine. It's not the mechanic around the dice. It's just the fact that they're in the game, and it's like they're these giant.
That is a mechanic.
Clunky, but you know what I mean. Like it's
Nick. We're never going to resolve this. We should do a 1 episode long podcast called "Is Destiny Good?" And it'll be like 3 hours fight. And
no, I definitely think Nick's got a point. It's weird when you start combining things like that into a card game. Hey, will you guys pass me that giant ass fucking token?
Yeah. I like giant tokens.
You know, and that's I am on record as saying that I think the best card game design are the ones that you only need the cards. Like you don't need anything else.
So it's your personal bias that keeps you away from Destiny. You don't have
that's like an early 90s version of card games though. Those don't exist anymore.
No, they don't. You're right. And maybe that is an artifact.
Play war.
Of
You guys want to play bridge?
All right.
No one knows how to play that. I'm surprised you didn't like it though, because generally people who are like naysayers on it's because the dice look all goofy and silly, but then they play it and they're like, at the very least they will declare it fun. But you were immediately out on it.
I'm gonna be honest. Like after about 4 turns, I was just like, "Can I just quit? Can I just forfeit? Like, oh, I should play this through. I should just keep playing."
Wow!
If it were Jurassic Park skinned, he'd love it.
Oh yeah, no, undoubtedly.
Wait, you don't like Star Wars?
I like Star Wars, but I'm also of the mindset that I have too much Star Wars in my life now. Like
you haven't seen Solo yet. That'll
the amount that I like Star Wars is easily overshadowed by now how much Star Wars exists. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like it enough to want this much Star Wars in my life.
You're a little Star Wars saturated.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't understand any of those words strung together.
No.
Although I haven't seen Solo, so maybe that was the tipping point.
Then we did Destiny Draft, Casey? That was fun.
Yeah, you, me, and Brad. That was pretty fun.
I like how it started as like a 10-person draft until half of us saw the price tag.
No,
that was insane.
I think it was just insane. Brandon and someone else, and then it grew, and then it shrank again.
It was going to be, originally it was 2, so it was Brad or Bardley and I, and then it grew to like, I think 12, and then just collapsed like a house
I don't know
of cards.
about 12.
It crumbled.
Yeah, people saw the price, and they were weak in the force. I was testing midichlorian levels, and they were pretty low.
Ew.
And they immediately backed out. What a shame. It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
We all
easily the highlight of
garbage
GenCon, I would say. It's
Yeah.
really incomparable.
I agree. I don't think I need to play games at GenCon anymore because we've tapped out. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. Even though eventually I was dice drafting because I had no direction in my deck at all.
Yeah, I think we
Isn't that how
successfully
draft
burdened
goes?
you with all of the Gungans, which was quite an achievement.
When I got past the Gungans for the 3rd time, I was like, I gotta move in on Gungan. Which I did. Great game. Play Destiny, people. So fun.
I played a game of the superior Star franchise, Star Trek. Caleb, the designer of Lord of the Rings, and he comprehensively smashed me into another galaxy.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing in that game. There was like there are 4 lights card.
Yeah,
Like, it was
I was
insane.
playing a Federation deck. He was playing Cardassians, which is all
Can
about
you explain the
capture.
entire meta? As
Sure.
complete?
Sure, let's start Star Trek CCG casting now. But essentially, he captured like 5 of my members. Yeah, it was all downhill.
Playing that game with Caleb is like living under Joffrey's rule in Game of Thrones. he's gonna fuck you up, and you just have to smile and bend over.
Yeah.
Well,
I was watching it happen real time, and I was like, Ian is a lot better than I would. Like if I were in Ian's place, I would be just seething. Just like, even if it was my first time playing the game, I'd be like, "This is fucking stupid."
I've rage quit on him before playing that game because I'm just
I
like,
am not
no,
surprised.
I'm not doing this anymore.
For me, it was all about expectations. Like, for context, he won like 2 world champions at that game, so I went in knowing I was But I think the Joffrey analogy is correct. I think it's specifically the scene where Joffrey takes Sansa to go look at her dad's decapitated head. Like,
and he's not doing it to be cruel. That's
just
the only
be quiet and look down, girl.
He doesn't do it to be cruel. He just does it because he's so happy.
That's the way he enjoys the game.
Yeah. Yes. He was very worried that he was turning me off from the game, which isn't. I actually enjoy.
Okay, that's the thing though. He's worried, but it didn't stop him from destroying you.
No,
right? He doesn't tone down.
Jeez, I hope he thinks it's as fun as I.
He's either not playing Star Trek CCG or he's destroying you in Star Trek CCG.
I really enjoyed watching his. Well, I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, but I was very admiring his how he constructed his deck and everything was put together. It was. Yeah, I can see why he's a world champion.
I had a similar experience when I played the Star Wars CCG against him, and I played that game a lot, but he had like tournament-ready combo-y decks, and there's only so much you can do when you come with a fun
This
deck.
is what I said on Cardboard of the Rings so often is, by playing that Star Trek game with Caleb, I can see what he was going to do to Lord of the Rings, and I was like, I won't be able to handle this anymore.
You had a rare vision of the future.
Because I can see how that guy's mind works with card games, and it's on levels of strategy that no one can comprehend.
That and the Cardassian cycle was just so anachronistic.
Yeah, that scene where they captured and tortured him. That was very affecting. But yeah, in that game, there's like this dilemma deck you build to challenge the other crew, which is basically an encounter deck. So he just was building the equivalent of like killer encounter deck. So yeah, that was it. Gonna have to go lick my wounds and do an extensive montage sequence for next GenCon.
I need a montage.
I think you and I should build 2 decks and go against him together.
Oh,
He'll
that's a
still
good
beat
idea.
us.
Yeah,
He'll still beat us. But we might accomplish at least 3 missions.
like 2 of the most trolly decks possible.
Yes.
I'm with this.
Now, I was sad, Ian, that we never got a chance to sit down and play Middle-earth CCG because you even built custom decks for Nick and I, saying we'd wanted to play it. But like, I didn't even feel like I got to play Arkham or Lord of the Rings. I sat down for one game of Lord of the Rings. We did our Arkham event, and then you and I, in our usual tradition, sat down afterward and beat the damn scenario.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
we didn't even play Game of Thrones.
Year.
We usually Thrones, we didn't get to the chance to do that.
Well, okay, so anything else to mention before we move to After Dark? Because I want to move this.
Nyctophobia.
Oh yeah, Nyctophobia. Finish up on that. Because our man Justin has been underrepresented since he couldn't make it tonight. Nick, since it's fear of Nick, why don't you go ahead?
Nyctophobia, yes, the Latin for of Nick. No. Nyctophobia was a game that it's 1v many. So Justin, who bought the game, was the one. He was the axe murderer. And Sean, Casey, Brian, and I were the many. We were the victims who were staggering blindly through a forest at midnight, trying to find the car and trying to avoid the axe murderer. And so the many, the people who are the victims, play the game with blackout glasses on. And not only that, but like those were like, I just closed my eyes the whole game because it just became easier. And pretty much on your turn, you just hold your hand out. You just, point your finger out in the air above the board, and then the axe murderer will take, because he's seeing everything, normal. He takes your finger and places it on your piece. And then
if you're lucky.
Yeah. And then you just feel around your piece and you do your movements and everything like that. And it's so
I know, right, Brian?
Oh, yeah, all right.
It's extremely intimate.
You can feel around my piece anytime.
I think I'd rather go with the axe murder.
Tease that, meeple.
And then if you have the option to hide as well, and if you hide, you can't speak because that's your only real strategy is being able to talk with the other people around you and figure out where they are and all that. And we got to a point where everybody was hiding except for me, and I was like, "This is bullshit. I can't strategize with any. I just have to sit here and just announce what I'm doing and hope that I don't bumble into failure." It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't rush out and buy it right after that because that's one that I could see us having a lot of fun with like our regular gaming group, Sean.
Yeah.
Did you guys think it was that much fun?
I feel like in a different environment, it would have enhanced the game intensely. I almost didn't
if it were in a quiet room where we were the only people and not in a giant convention hall, I think it would have been so much more enjoyable, but I still really liked it.
It was kind of weird to have to sit in what you knew was a very and keep your eyes closed.
Yeah.
I was not sold on the experience whatsoever.
I didn't have a great time with it, but I would be willing to try it again in a different environment.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I would try it at least one more time, but as of right now, I wouldn't.
Especially
I could
now that
only do it if
either of
somebody
you
was
wanna
kind
play
of
it, or if any
insistent
of
that
you
we
wanna
try
play
it
it.
again.
I don't think the murderer sounds fun at all.
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I can totally see like now that we're actually like dissecting it a little bit. Like part of my like why I like it so much is probably the novelty of it, and I would think that after playing it 3 or 4 times, it might kind of lose its luster. But
I think there's a really great concept there. It's just not quite there.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like Nick, at the end of the day, if we have hour and a half, 2 hours to kill, are we going to pull out Nyctophobia or Last Friday? Or wait, last Friday?
Last Friday is the one that you're between the two of them, well, those are very different games.
Well, they're different
like,
in form, but
different.
like it's the whole one versus many, trying to escape an axe murderer. Like, I just think there's more game in Last Friday.
I would
and
agree.
It has Ice Cube.
I would argue with Nyctophobia, the plot is not the driving point. The plot is just how you explain the game. Like the plot is irrelevant to what you're really trying to do.
Sure.
It's really about the mechanics. Like it's such a unique mechanical experience.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, it's kind of the same thing that we were touching at earlier. I'll give the game credit for ingenuity. I've never played a game like that.
Right.
I'm typically not a fan of any game that involves
sensory deprivation.
Well, I was specifically going after like a dexterity type approach. This game doesn't involve dexterity.
Yeah.
It's just tactile sensation that you're going after. But I thought it was a really innovative way of bringing that into a board game. I just ultimately feel like I was just bored the whole time. I didn't feel like there was really a strategy for us to follow. Like Casey said, I cannot imagine playing as the murderer. It sounded awful. Like you get to do something every 4 turns. And
2 turns.
Oh, that's right. Every 2 turns. It is every 2.
Yeah, and you draw a card.
Your movement is completely dictated by what the other players are doing, and you just get one little action that you're allowed to take. It just didn't. It just sounded boring. I guess I'd be curious to get Justin's kind of post GenCon opinions on playing that role specifically. See what he thinks now, but it just didn't win me over.
Now that I'm thinking of it in like other than that one experience, I would agree that it kind of feels like there's probably about 75% of a game there. Like they got close, and then just a little bit more, and it would be, it would be a complete thing.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. The rules were totally unpolished.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
the
rulebook was terrible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like completely mislabeling aspects of cards and stuff like that.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
But with that said, it's, if this is step 1 towards making what could ultimately be a really solid game, I'm down with that.
Right.
Super low endorsement. I'll never play it.
I don't
Brandon, what was the dexterity one you guys were playing next door? Steel Team Flicks or whatever?
My game of the con.
Yes.
Steel Team Flicks. Oh my god, it was so fun. It's ridiculously fun. Number 1, there's enough goodies in the box that it will satisfy like any like, you know, I want toys kind of board gamer where there's just, it's full of stuff, and the game is super fun. You play as a game or a group of seals that are comprised of people from different countries, which is stupid. It should all be American. But anyways, you're fighting against eco-terrorists, which is a little bit weird as well. But story aside, the game is really fun. You get all these different weapons that afford you different little sized discs that you then get to flick with your finger at evil people. And there's little cardboard walls in the way, so you can reflect off of walls and smash into boxes. The game is awesome. When Dave originally posted it, I thought I was interested in it just because there's so many components and pieces. But the game, actually, to play it is super fun. Like, it was exciting to upgrade my rifle and put on a silencer. And great game. SEAL Team Flicks by WizKids. Hugely liked it.
And now let's just be clear here. Like, the really cool thing about this game is the fact that you're playing straight up like super stressful, super grim SEAL members who are like, oh, we need to be super tactical about this. They have hostages. They could kill the hostages. We got to avoid this. It's like you're getting into it, and you're getting and then when it comes to your turn, you're like, I'm gonna flick this piece of plastic across the table. Like it's totally that dichotomy is so delicious. I love it.
But it's stressful as hell when you're flicking because you have everybody sitting there like, oh, you can make this. You can make this. But lo and behold, you can miss stuff way easier than you think. It's unbelievable. Yeah,
what if you
really cool.
Actually sounds a lot like was it
Castles and
Catacombs, which was almost the one game I bought at GenCon, except I didn't want to wade back through the crowd on that last day of the exhibitor hall. Timing just didn't work out. But I played that one with Matt actually before. Fun. That's pretty fun. The little that one has like different classes, and every different class has like a different projectile type or way they attack. Yeah. That one is really fun. So it sounds kind of similar to that, just maybe less tactical map action.
And you know what? The SEAL Team Flicks game actually is legit tactical because they have a hugely cool mechanic where, like, you might just think, oh, I'll just go in guns a-blazing, lone wolf style.
I wouldn't think that.
But the mechanic in this one is it's sound-based. So every action that you take that makes a noise produces a certain amount of sound. And then the sound is what determines how many tangos will reinforce. So, like, if you're making a huge shitload amount of sound, tangos are just pouring out of the woodwork. But if you try to stay quiet, then they don't show up. And so, like, what you need to do with your team is on one turn, it's going to be your noisy turn where, like, you've got two people behind a door and there's a breaching charge. And another guy is, like, creeping up behind someone with a shotgun. And so you just unleash all this sound and fury and then go back silent and start sneaking around the complex again. Really fun game. I was surprised at how fun it was. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so I guess before we run back to After Dark, still talking about games. Games of the con for everyone else. Like, I literally don't have one. I didn't get a chance to play much this year. Nick, do you have one that you've mentioned or that you'd like to mention at this point?
Of actual Gen Con, like being at the convention center?
Game of the con for you.
Probably, it's a toss-up between Arc 3rd and Keyforge. Like, they were both pretty impressive. Like, they both did things I did not expect. But if I'm coming away with just how much I enjoyed it and also buy it, then it would be Arkham 3rd.
Not Destiny.
I'm sure it wasn't Nyctophobia until we pissed in the cornflakes.
It was almost gonna be.
I really feel like we deflated your balloon there.
You guys did. Geez. You guys deflated. You put the fear of Nick in me. So.
Casey, how about you?
Destiny draft.
That was, that was just life changing, life affirming, honestly. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that like, oh, I can't wait to buy it or whatever. Like Arkham, I'm probably, in so deep into the Arkham verse that was like inevitable. But
an auto buy until otherwise proven.
Pretty much.
I suppose I have to amend. Of the games I did try, Keyforge probably had my attention the most. I will be buying that when it comes out. So, Ian.
Yeah, probably a boring answer. I have to say Arkham 3rd Edition. I went from being like, 50-50 when it was first announced, being really excited for it. And it sounds funny to give a shout out for Game of the Con to like a 10-year-old game, but although I got smashed, it was genuinely fun to play Star Trek CCG with someone again after all these years.
Brother, try 20-year-old game.
It was a cool blast from the past, so yeah. But Arkham 3rd is the game that I'm most looking forward to.
If I could rewind a bit, I guess I did get in a game, Hail Hydra, the Marvel.
Yeah.
Game, and that wasn't After Dark, so we can wait to talk about it then. But that was
go for it.
Surprisingly good. Well, then that would be skipping After.
Well, no, you just talk about the game. So it's a hidden trader game, right? I barely got to see any of it.
So
what's different about it?
Well, there is gameplay after you is an agent of Hydra, I guess. Whereas in Resistance, if you're figured out, unless you're pretty damn convincing, you're kind of out of the game.
Yeah.
Here, there is actually a strategic reason to, claim Hydra allegiance. You get to triggers a special power, as well as the way you behave on missions, or the actual rules and what you can do change versus just, I'm evil and everyone knows it. Just going to reject everything for the rest of the game.
When you switch affiliations, do you have to whisper Hail Hydra in someone's ear?
You have to shout
I think
it.
it's a shout.
Oh. Yeah.
I believe it's
you
a
have
shout.
to declare it.
Can you go ear to ear to ear to ear, just whispering Hail Hydra?
I think people would get the point after you did it once. But yeah, I suppose you could do it that way too.
It's really cool because not only is it Resistance-esque, but the missions actually have like mechanical differences because they're represented as villains, and the way that each villain will interact with the city and the heroes going up against it is different. Like, they're not drastically different, but it's like, okay, we want to play cards of a certain number value against this villain, and this villain we want to take out in one go, and this villain we want to make sure that we're not playing any matching numbers and stuff like that.
If this guy will hurt the city anyways if we play too many.
Yeah. Yeah, and not only that, but then also the players take on a role of a hero in the Marvel universe, and each of the heroes have their own special ability that fits that hero. Like, the Hulk does a lot of damage to the villain, but also damages the city. And Spider-Gwen can force a character to play their card face up rather than face down, so her spider sense is going. Like, there's layers to it that is missing from like the Resistance, and that was really interesting.
Spider-Gwen?
Yeah, man! You don't know Spider-Gwen?
Yeah, I totally know her, dude.
I was just making sure you knew her, bro. So now, of those represented here, Brian, I would wager a guess that you tried the most new games at the con. So I'm interested to hear what you would call your game of the con.
I don't think I'd really have one.
Decrypto.
Dude, I bought Decrypto last year.
I was about to say Decrypto was the game of the year in 2017.
Yeah, that was my game of last year's Gen Con.
It's
for
super
sure.
Fun. Brian, did you play SEAL Team Flicks?
I did not. I didn't get a chance to.
Nycto.
Yeah, I was playing Nyctophobia at the time instead.
Man. You'd like it.
No, the only games that I bought were all 1v1 games, which is typically not where I am drawn, but I bought a bunch of like abstract games, which I do enjoy. It's just, that's really not why I go to Gen Con, but I don't know. I just didn't really find anything that got me all that amped this year. I bought the conversion kits for X-Wing, which at the time I was really excited about having. And then once I started opening them up, I was like, I don't think I needed these. And I was a little disappointed. But with that said, I look forward to seeing how the game's going to be different, how it's going to play a little bit differently. Gosh, what else?
Gun to your head, game of the con.
I'm trying to think of the new ones that, like, you and Justin and I, we played the Climbers, but that wasn't a new one. That one
was, I got that last year too.
And we played what was the one that Justin bought? Space Park. And that one was fun.
Spoiler alert, it's because all the new interesting games are only on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong.
What was the Space Park one? I can't remember.
Space Park was the rockets, and it was like a 50.
That was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Definitely not what I would want to escalate to Game of the Con status.
No.
It sounds like pickings are slim, though.
If I really had to pick one, I bought this game called Squadro, and it was one of those.
Sounds like a joke.
It kind of is.
It's like it sounds like
I think they tried to name all their games really similarly. So one is like Quadro, and then there's Squadro.
Oh, geez.
So it's this company that has they have 4 or 5 kind of flagship abstract games. Anybody who's been to GenCon either this year or last year probably saw their booth. They have oversized versions of their games, and they're cool little games. But that one was particularly fun. It's I don't know how to describe it. You're trying to get your pieces from one side of the board to the other and then back, and the amount that they can move over the course of the game changes based on which direction they're going. And then it's all about, if you're able to jump over your opponent, you send them back to where they started. So it's just this strategy.
That's checkers.
It's essentially a slightly fancier version of checkers. Yeah, there's nothing much more to it, I guess.
And this was your Game of the Con?
My thought was
exactly.
There wasn't anything big.
No, that definitely it was the case. It did not feel like anyone was gravitating.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's how I felt about it this year. I think I'm going to be taking a break from Gen Con next year because
stop.
Speak no more.
I don't.
You're going to cause an uprising, apparently.
What?
I said you're going to cause an uprising, apparently.
You have to go.
I don't have to do anything.
The surest way to get Brian to do something is to tell him he can't do it or shouldn't do it.
Well, I'm just going to say that you're not going to be there next year, Brian. That makes me really relieved. So, I'll probably have a better time if you're not there.
Oh God,
that makes sense.
That's not the response I was looking for, but
yeah.
Damn it.
I hope you guys have a great time while Nick plays Metroid the entire time you're trying to
Game of the Con, Super Metroid.
Did you try the pizza this year?
Did I try what?
The pizza?
Yeah.
And you're still not coming next year.
Well, so again, from my perspective, mac and cheese pizza is nothing new whatsoever. So
yeah. They did it right though. That was good. I've never had it before, but I know that's mac and cheese pizza done well.
So I was not it was good. I was not a huge fan of it. The primary
me to your
thing.
Pizza place.
What's that?
I want to go to where you're having pizza. If that wasn't that great.
I can show you really good mac and cheese pizza if you come visit.
Okay.
Do you guys have a regional Minnesota pizza thing? Because that seems a point of some controversy.
I don't think so.
Don't think so? Okay.
Do we, Sean?
I think we have very local pizzas chains that people are pretty loyal to, but I'm sure most states can say that. I don't think we have any pizza that's really endemic to Minnesota specifically.
Yeah. I certainly don't think we do, but my biggest issue with it was that it's I just read JK's quote in the that was really, from my perspective, mac and cheese pizza is nothing new whatsoever. They loaded it with bacon, and I mean, obviously, yes, everybody loves bacon, but you couldn't taste anything else on the pizza.
I don't see a problem there.
It did have that really lovely texture.
I'll just eat bacon if that's what I want. I couldn't. There was no other flavor going on, and so that's boring to me.
You may have got a poorly distributed piece because none of mine were like that.
That's
they
very
were
possible.
Such a beautiful balance of mac, cheese, bacon, and chili flakes.
I did have 2 pieces, so I'm not going to buy that, but it's possible.
Really, you did?
Yeah, no, I just wasn't a fan.
Maybe just that corner, that quadrant. Of
it could have been.
Did you order 2 at the same time, folks? We're going to stop this conversation really soon. But did you have 2 at the same time or 2 at
yes?
Nice.
So they probably came from the same pizza.
Oh, well, there you go. I think you maybe had a lackluster employee make that.
It's very possible.
I don't know. Still a small sample size.
So he's coming back to Gen Con.
and is insignificant.
It just... but overall, just the feeling of, and I felt it last year where I didn't.
A disturbance in the force.
It just didn't feel like there was this big, exciting game to come out of it. For me, last year, it would have been Decrypto, except you couldn't buy it yet.
Was it on Kickstarter, perhaps?
No.
Yep,
Okay.
They got a chance to hype the game, and I got really excited to play it. And then I was there to buy it the moment it came to market. Sean, is that what you wanted to hear?
Well, in this
Is
case,
that what you wanted to hear,
in
Sean?
this case, I'm very glad you did because I played
Yeah.
your copy and immediately went out and bought it.
How dare you?
I know you didn't expect me to give in that easy, did you?
No, I was prepared for a lengthy fight. Yeah, and I felt that way last year, and I felt it again this year, where I just wonder if I'm maybe a little burned out on the experience, and maybe it is going after that whole idea of like knowing that this is just kind of, you know, you're running into more things that you can't necessarily buy there. You're running into all these other things. I feel like the number of games that like they only sell, 100 copies each day. I feel like that's starting to become more the norm than it has been in the past. I don't know. It just doesn't feel. Yeah, Jake R just wrote in the chat. You'll always be chasing that first time GenCon high, and that might
We're always
really
chasing the gold dragon.
Yeah,
It's
it just.
great. You go
and
you go for Steak and Shake first, gaming second, and you'll never be disappointed.
That's fair. That's fair.
We did
That's what I'm
Steak and
there
Shake
for.
last this year because I didn't go with you when you went. We hit it on like the way out of Illinois.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I
man.
didn't have any Steak and Shake this.
What a
neither did
disappointment.
I. First
How? How?
Dude, I had
Come on.
this amazing Indian that was just delicious.
Did they give you 2 meals for $3?
It was a buffet. I paid once and ate.
How much?
How much? What did I pay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was like $10.
Oh, not 3?
No, it wasn't 3. I know that for sure.
There's just no way you're gonna win this, Nick. Back out.
Okay, bringing this home to After Dark. This is the
Yay!
this is the third year in a row we've run After Dark. The Slippery Noodle, they know how to take care of us now. I thought this year was ridiculously smooth.
Wait, this is only the third year?
Yeah.
And I believe
I
so.
feel like it's got to be more than that.
It's either third or
No.
fourth. I think
Fourth.
it's third.
Oh, wow.
I think it's only third, isn't it?
Wow.
Can't be.
Wow.
Wow.
That's possible. It could
Wow.
be. I really didn't ever do anything to help organize it.
I was about to say, like, hang
No.
on.
That's
Four.
sort of
Just showed up and partied
Anyway,
hard.
Mhm.
it went great. There were quite a few games of Secret Hitler rattling around.
Yeah.
That game is fun.
I would say actual game of the con was Secret Hitler for me.
I've played Secret Hitler many times before. That I had a ton of fun. I've never had that much fun as we did at After Dark, which is great, but I'm just trying to provide fair warning. I do not feel like you're going to have that same experience if you bust it out in another
It's way
another
more
setting.
about the awesomeness of the group than the game itself, is what you're saying.
The
Yes.
time, the
Yes.
place, and the mood.
Mhm.
I think drinking really helps.
I think
Yeah.
having 10 players, like
Yeah,
having
Playing
a
that game
rotating
sober, people actually try to strategize too much, and if you make that game about strategy, it's not fun.
No.
Yes, I learned that in our last game.
Yeah.
So to
Man, what a fun game. And I love how people turn on each other so fast.
Oh my god, it was
Yes.
so
It
good.
takes so little.
It's like, oh yeah, okay, let's think about this. And then they say one damn thing. It's like, you fucking fascist. Like, people just turn.
All I said was that the fascists are going to be fighting the hardest right now, and from like the next time they voted for me chancellor, it was like 8 9s. I'm like, seriously?
I love how Nick knew immediately that vague comment was about him.
Sean totally cut out for me.
He
Yep.
did. I knew immediately.
I turned
that
on
day.
Nick immediately when he said that. Immediately.
You and apparently the rest of the table.
Yep.
I don't know what happened, but can't bring logic to a Secret Hitler game, I guess.
So,
The game, though, God, like, could they name it more awkwardly, though, where it's hard to sell to your friends? It's like, hey, guys, I want to play Secret Hitler.
Well, see,
I
the
think it's
problem
easy
is-
to sell.
friends, try explaining to coworkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
What
it's
did
easy
you
to
do
sell
at
to
the
your friend.
convention? Oh, I played Secret Hitler.
Right after 15 flicks.
Sound good.
Yeah.
In its defense, I think at the time that game was released, we weren't actually worried about Nazis anymore.
That's true. That's true.
They were still a comical enemy.
Yes. It had been long enough. So I saw Secret Hitler, I saw Skull, Decrypto was floating around. We never got a chance to play hand management with Matt and his buds.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
Did anybody play that poker game with
Skull.
No, there was an additional poker game.
Yeah, something
with Will.
Jenny.
With
Save
Will. It was
Jenny.
like Super Pretty Jenny or something.
Wasn't it Save Jenny?
That sounds right.
Could have been Save Jenny.
That was
I also
okay.
played Liar's Dice. Right?
Yeah, Fluff. It was officially called Fluff, which is just
that's right.
It's Liar's Dice, but instead of a 1 on each d6, it's a wild value.
Oh, that's
right.
It's just a variant
Which is
of
like-
Liar's Dice.
yeah.
It
What's
made
that?
it really fun though.
Yeah, it's exactly what Liar's Dice needs.
There was some game. What was that game we played? There was like a tofu chef and
Oh shit, that's a Daryl Lloyd game?
does
Happy
anyone know?
Salmon.
No, there was one where it was
Salmon,
basically
yeah.
one person was the princess, and then there was the prince who has to figure out of the 8 people who's like the princess, so they can ask different questions. They can ask like where's the princess, who is the other people, and basically
Do this in
when
After
you're-
Dark?
yeah. Basically, when you're drunk, there's no way to play because it's basically like a deduction.
Was this
game,
in the
you know?
lame half of the room?
No.
Oh, the quiet in the library.
It was
The library.
In the library, the After Dark study.
It was. I need to find this actual entry for the game.
There was a lot of shushing in that zone.
I
was
went over there to
basically-
say hi, and I got a pie thrown at me.
Nobody.
I wish that-
That sounds like the awesome section.
Yeah.
Happy Salmon wasn't as violent this year. You know, everyone was a little more laid back on Happy Salmon.
I don't know. I got
There's
into
only
it
a
for the
few
3 games I
games.
played.
It's so fun.
It was I feel like that's one that's like great the first night you play it, and then it never lives up to that again.
Are you kidding me?
I really enjoyed it
feel
the
like that
couple
game
games I played.
continues to hold its own. It's so fun. Like it's a dumb drunk game, Sean.
Accurate. Oh yeah, Tofu Kingdom. That's right. That I was trying to
have
remember
no
what that was
memory of
called.
that game.
See, I'm not crazy.
No, we played that. That one was really fun. I feel like we definitely would have done better with maybe a calmer atmosphere because there are so many little
Yeah.
roles to remember to play it properly. But luckily, I
Like-
never
like
got
the-
dealt any of the roles that needed to remember, so I got to just live in blissful ignorance.
The first round,
Princess Tofu.
yeah, it's basically you can either be the evil side who always have to good, who always have to tell the truth. Purple, you can go either which way. And then the first round was funny because someone was asking who is the princess to each person. So essentially, it just turned into it's like I am the princess. No,
Yeah.
I am the princess.
The way the
Oh,
game
God.
works is everyone's dealt a role secretly. There's 3 factions within it, and the whole goal of the first faction is for the prince and the princess to end up together. And then so whoever's the prince for the round gets to ask one question of each player, and they have a specific set of questions you can ask. You can ask, "Are you the princess? Where is she?" And what was the third one?
Where is he?
Where's the princess?
We need the
Sorry, that's
Batman
what
edition.
I went to, yeah.
But anyway, it was really funny to
One
see
person's
how.
Batman, one person's the trigger.
I mean, they could reskin this very easily, and that would be a game.
Yeah, but I feel like
Like-
tofu is such a strong theme that we could.
It's obviously very memorable.
But anyway, it was really funny to see how different people approached the whole interrogation process. Because you're right, Ian. There was the first round. I can't remember who it was, but they just went around each person and asked where the princess was. And when you're at the end of that, you got like 6 different answers and no way to cross correlate because you've asked no other question. Anyway,
Especially like 4 or 5 beers in, you're just like,
Where's the
Oh,
princess?
God.
Where's the princess? Where's the princess?
yeah. And we played Hail Hydra. Matt Newman was part of that, and for some reason, I got marked as a Hydra agent right away,
You were
even though it
quiet,
was
like in the
Shield.
thing. That was the explanation. It was flawed, admittedly.
It was immediate. Yeah. So I don't know what to do in hidden trader games because for the thing I was just nice and quiet, and then this time I was trying to be out there, and then either way I got marked as a traitor.
I tried to be out there in Secret Hitler, and I got killed.
That's right. You got assassinated.
Yeah.
Were you a fascist?
No, I never was a fascist. Not even one time.
Brandon and I were Team Blue every single game.
Yeah. We kept it so real.
Uh-huh.
God, that game just breeds mistrust, though.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, if you're not almost ending friendships, you're probably not doing social deception games properly.
Or Happy Salmon.
Or Happy Salmon.
You know, think about Happy Salmon. That is the sort of like, it's the drunk tank of gaming parties. Where it's like, okay, you're too hammered to play anything else. Go play Happy Salmon now. The lowest common denominator.
I don't feel like it got crazy rowdy this year. I personally reined myself in a little bit because last year it was real rough Sunday morning. But
yeah, I think we all learned lessons from years past.
Yes, yes, we did. So then I'm trying to think who all special guest wise showed up. I know Matt was there. Caleb showed up for a bit. Nate French showed up.
Nate was there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Cardboard of the Rings guys were obviously there.
Matt Holland was there.
Yep, other Matt showed up. So yeah, it was just a really great time. So thanks for everyone who came out, made it a good time. The Noodle thanked us, and like it was a feather in my cap that prior to everything getting set up, Patrick, who is our contact with the Slippery Noodle, had mentioned that they were booked out for other nights this year, but the owner of the Slippery Noodle made sure that after dark, like, we were the priority because they like us so much. So it's a big thanks to everyone who came and acted like gentlemen and gentlewomen.
Oh man, and my meal at the Noodle this year was epic good.
What'd you get?
I had the schnitzel sandwich that came with a side, so I chose tater tots.
Oh, the tots are amazing.
Yes, and then I also got on the side bacon, cheese, Cajun tater tots.
Yes, those were so good.
It was just tot-pocalypse. It was so amazing. It was so good.
Tot-pocalypse.
They're so much harder to come by in Canada. People are just like, "Oh, hey, here's tater tots in America." In Canada, you get them like twice a year.
Why wouldn't you make it catastrophe?
I don't know. I also had tots at Chris and I stopped at Sonic, and we had tots there as well. That was really good too.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we're just sharing meal stories from outside GenCon.
Oh, now let's go food. Yeah.
Stopped at a Hardee's on the way out. First time having 20.
Oh, what'd you get?
I got whatever comes with 3 different kinds of meat, whatever sandwich that was.
It was the monster, right?
The monster, yeah. Loved it.
We stopped there for breakfast.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Hardee's.
Hardee's.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon perks up.
I want to go to there.
3 kinds of meat. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All right, guys. Well, let's bring this home. Any final thoughts on Gen Con this year, or anything you would mention that you hadn't mentioned yet?
Steak and Shake has introduced a new prime, what was it called? Like prime steak burger?
Yeah, they actually have like $8 burgers now.
Amazing. So I had one of those and then a jalapeno crunch just as a snack. And it's worth mentioning that Chris had 2 Steak and Shake burgers. Chris from Cardboard of the Rings and threw up from that.
No. Oh god.
He had what amounted to like most people's snacks, and he couldn't handle it.
It was just the shake part of Steak and Shake.
Oh, it's unbelievable! It's unbelievable. I had like 4 burgers. He had 2. Anyways, I won't get into it, but he can't handle America.
Anyone else?
10 on 10 would go again.
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
Our flight back was a rock polisher.
Okay.
Were you awake for it, or did you sleep?
I can't sleep on planes anyway. Made it work. It's just like rocking the whole time. Yeah.
What's a rock polisher?
I would say I had a rock polisher.
It's
It was
another
like,
name for a drider.
Just super
Oh.
turbulent.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
A
bad.
million-
I had a Caesar salad before we went on the phone. Luckily, it wasn't anything that would make me from all the turbulence.
How
You
was your
managed
Caesar
to get a
salad?
Caesar salad in America? I didn't think that was even possible.
Yeah, they
Brandon,
didn't
you
even
got
get in
one.
trouble.
Yeah, I got one that was like the worst I've ever tasted in my life.
Yeah, it was the most tiring Gen Con for some weird reason, like Sean was mentioning. I don't know why, but
That's called getting old, you guys. For
I was gonna
Christ.
say,
No, there was something else at work.
Well, I've been old the rest of the year, and usually Gen Con break from being old, and then it just
I don't know. I felt energized the whole time.
I was gonna say we've described this Gen Con as both the most like the least exciting and also the most tiring. So I think it's just getting old.
Agreed.
I think we
I
just don't look
got,
forward to
so
fast food the way that Brandon does.
That's it.
I do.
I go there to eat garbage and drink a ton of beer and also bring beer back. And I have one of the coolest beers that I've ever got in the US called Laser Snake. Amazing, amazing looking brew. I haven't tasted it yet, but it looks cool. And of course, Emperor, which ruins me for all other beers.
The funny thing about Gen Con is because it's different for so many people depending on what they go for. Like, I know people who just go there for all these events. Some people, their hall of games, and it's just like crates full. But for me, I'm not even there to buy games. It's basically to go there, hang out with you guys, play Arkham and Lord of the Rings, and that's it. So in those terms, it was both Arkham and Lord of the Rings were great, scenarios this year. So it was good.
I know I said this last year regarding this year as well, but I do want to sign up for more events next year. Like I want to, especially the role playing part of Gen Con. Like I feel like, and I know Ian is big into the role playing as well, but I feel like out of this group, I'm like the most into role playing, and because
Nick,
I'm
I think
so
you can
much...
say that about most groups that you're a part of.
Lots of groups, yeah.
I was gonna say because I'm such a what's everyone else doing? Let's go do that. Like because that's kind of my personality. Like I haven't branched out to do the RP stuff because it would probably be just me doing it. But I do want to do more of that next year for sure.
I think I personally just based on my experience this year, I need to get out of the mindset that I want to peruse and be in the hall kind of aimless, because I think that's what sapped me this year so hard.
That's true.
Yeah. Every time we would go back to the show floor, I was kind of like, it was like, oh, another crowd, more lines to just trudge through. I've seen all these booths. I don't want to buy anything.
I
Agreed.
Exactly.
I think there was a lot of time wasted going down the same aisles.
Yes.
Well, and
I mean, how many times did we go to the dead CCG table?
Not enough.
Just enough times. But I mean, my thing this year was like because of the terribleness of the Gen Con registration system, I was like ticket guy. I got into more events than I was actually playing. So I felt like I had to go back to the FFG booth like every other hour, and that just crossing the hall is like that kills a half hour. It's
crazy.
It's ridiculous. So I think next year my goal is going to be more focused. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that means.
For Gen Con. And we'll play games with a group of us.
Gen Con.
Why don't we just volunteer to set up
Indianapolis.
all of the different stands, and then we leave before the actual event starts?
Or we
Probably
go
cheaper.
on or we make Gen Con Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then you just go on the No, wait.
No, we'd be there for
Wednesday,
the in-flight report.
Thursday.
We'd miss the con.
But we'd
Tuesday,
make
Wednesday,
the in-flight
Thursday.
report.
No, but we'd have
That's
Tuesday
true.
to enjoy gaming, and then Wednesday, pretty chill day to enjoy gaming, and then Thursday we get all our stuff that we need, which
Okay.
is probably nothing.
If we're gonna
Let's
do
go.
that, can we go somewhere other than Indianapolis?
No, we should go the week after, and that way we
I'm so excited our Gen Con's in
find
Hawaii.
out what they did.
Oh, let's go to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Also good.
Do they have Steak and Shake in Hawaii?
No.
Yes.
But do they?
Just tell him.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm fine with Hawaii.
I think it's the
Google.
national, or I think it's the state restaurant.
They just
Oh,
hand it to you
GenCon.
when you get off the airplane. You
But
get a
for
lei
real
and
though,
steak and shit.
after you go to Gen Con for like 3-4 years, it becomes more a social event than anything
Yes.
else. It's
Yeah,
just
I agree
there
with
to
you.
go hang out with your buddies and do things that you do with your buddies. So
Oh, they do.
Look at that. One in Honolulu.
Huh.
okay,
That's
I'm down with
What
that.
island to go to?
Settled.
Well,
I wonder if they have a burger with pineapple on it.
It's probably a spam burger.
I would try that, honestly.
Gross.
Oh, spam is delicious.
Spam's a mistake.
Yeah,
You're a
agreed.
mistake.
I
I'm
love
not
America. I
denying
don't like
that.
spam.
Yeah, so
All
I
right.
don't have
Well,
anything. I thought I
we'll
did.
look forward to seeing everyone at Gen Con 2019 in Honolulu.
Except for Brian.
no, Brian's going.
I'm undecided.
He's dead to us.
He's undecided.
I'm gonna
Brian-
have a 1-year-old.
You have a year to
What would you
you're
rather
coming
attend?
then.
Your child's birthday or Gen Con?
You're
Depends
gonna
on how
want
annoying he is.
You're gonna want to.
I like the delay.
I would say I had a 1-year-old last year, so it's doable.
Yeah, but I'm a responsible parent.
oh, that was
Damn.
barely.
Below the belt. Okay, well, I suppose
You've
that's
just been happy, Salmon.
Someone's tired.
Oh,
as good a note as any to end
Stan
on.
is not happy.
So,
Brian, you're not coming back on this show. I might
Happy
make it.
Sadman.
Depressed salmon.
so thank you to everyone who tuned in for this episode and made it through to this rambling end. On behalf
Why
of,
would you even do that?
on behalf of myself, Nick, Ian, Brandon, Brian, and Casey, happy Gen Con, and we'll see you guys for next episode. Say bye, everyone.
Thanks for
Bye.
having us
Bye.
on, Sean and Co.
I think we'll end it right there.
I like how Sean just cut the cord at the end.
Good God! Say bye,
Abandoned
everybody.
ship.
I say bye, and nobody says a damn word. I was hiking, and there was a small little sort of gully slash.
What?
There was a lowlands with a little bit of water going through it, like pathetically tiny.
Okay.
And I was gonna jump it, and there was a log on the other side, and I jumped and landed on the log, and the log rolled, and I
Oh Jesus!
went fucking
Oh no.
ass over heels and right on my hand and broke my wrist.
Ah.
Was this on your solo hike?
Yeah.
Oh, so you had to lug your ass back by yourself?
Ugh.
Nope. I continued.
Frodo in the dead marshes.
That was like the third hour into it, and I just kept going for another 3 days, didn't give a shit, and then went back and got to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, you broke your wrist, and put me in a cast.
Wow.
Lot of rum though.
So
Little self-medication.
so definitively you can say you pitched a tent one-handed?
I absolutely did.
I mean,
And I know exactly where I'm going with it, and I did.
Oh, we already went and came back, so I'm glad you're with us.
Are we still recording? Please tell
Yeah.
me we're still recording.